Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Legion Lads. I am your host, JR. Today we got John, Rob, and Jose. What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's up?
why is Jose here? He didn't even go to LVO.
Yo, I was
Because
watching you guys with a
Ho-
magnifying glass.
Jose's been like the most reliable co-host there is, so he
He
deserves a
really
spot here.
is.
Yeah, he's the number one fan right there.
Now, I was all over the Discord. I was all over the chats. I
He
was
was
all over the
cheering me
freaking
on. I
live
saw it. I
streams.
saw it.
I mean, I just
So
disappeared for months at a
I was
time.
watching you guys.
Yeah, Rob pops in
I'll be
like,
coming back.
So today, guys, as you guys know, we went to LVO, specifically John and Rob, and I. So we're gonna go over our experience a little bit. We want to give
Don't forget Nick. He'll be here next week.
yes, Nick's unfortunately sick, so he gets to rest today, and
The
then
con crud.
next week will be like the Nick episode.
Rainbows
Yeah.
and rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine.
Do you
I'm like
want
halfway through the episode next week. It's going to all be about MCP, so just be ready for that. This is the Legion Lads,
No, he's
Star
got
Wars
some to talk
Legion
about
and
now.
MCP podcast.
We want to give a huge shout out to LJ and everybody that judged on the LVO event, specifically the IS, because that was hugely based off the community. There was no support from AMG for that. So LJ, thanks again for throwing an awesome tournament. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, keep it going. Just keep this thing going.
Remember, we started off by saying nice things. Thank you, LJ, because it might not end up that way. It might not feel like we're thankful by the end of this pod, but we are. It was fun.
You know that
We enjoyed it.
criticism is a healthy criticism. You know what I mean? As long as it's done correctly.
Yeah, hopefully we're helpul.
Constructive criticism.
Thank you.
Constructive, yeah. There you go.
Constructive, yeah.
There you go.
That's the word we're looking for. So first we're gonna go over our games and our experience in our games. Specifically, we're gonna start with John. John, you got to play in the GT at LVO, and me and Rob got to play in the IS. So kind of give us your rundown of your games, what you experienced. This is actually your biggest tournament you've been to aside from Vet Fest.
Yeah.
So yeah, give us your experience, man. How did things go?
What did you play first off?
Yes.
What was your list?
What was my list? So I ran Yoda. Do you want me to go into big specs of it, or
Just the whole thing. What'd you play?
Yeah.
Brave man.
I played Yoda with Rex, Bad Batch. I had 4 cores of the infantry, 3 of the ARC troopers with impact grenades, and then I had clone commandos. That was basically a rundown of my list.
Nice.
So Yoda's not trash no more, right?
So how many acts was that?
11.
11. Dang, 11 with
11
Yoda.
with
Okay.
Yoda.
And Bad
Those extra
Batch?
200.
Damn.
Those extra 200 points, man.
You need to like add more point costs to Gar. They should not be fitting Yoda, Bad Batch, and 11.
I agree. I second this, Rob. 100%. 100%.
Like this is no none of this
it's
stuff.
ridiculous.
And they just nerfed
Yeah.
Yoda and made Palpatine worse in the process. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. But for my overall experience, I actually enjoyed it. I went 3-3.
Nice.
Better than me.
Good shit, bro.
Big improvement from Vet Fest.
Big improvement. Yeah, Betfest was 0-6, so a lot better. A lot of my games were really fun. I thought it was weird that I got Nick in round 2.
That's hilarious.
Out of 112 people, I got Nick. So, but we
Well,
had
out
a
of
fun
62,
game.
right? Or 61.
Oh no,
Because it was round 2, so you were either 1-0 or 0-1, and so
yeah,
the field was cut in half.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was just funny how out of everybody I got Nick. I played CIS 3 times. I played Rebels once. I played Shadow Collective once, and let's see, 3, 4 Shadow Collective, and then I played 1 Empire. So I didn't play against any Republic players at all.
That's
Lucky.
nice.
Yeah,
And the only one
explains the
Rebel player
3-3.
you played against was Nick.
yeah, it was Nick from our community, so it was pretty funny.
So any of those games like stand out to you that you want to talk about?
I mean, I want to say like a couple of my games are pretty close. Most of them are pretty close. Like I said, none of them I don't know. None of them really stood out as much. They were just I was just having fun playing. But yeah, I know I need to get better at one objective and try and figure out how to get through Tempest Force. But yeah,
Was that the
Ooh.
game
So
that you lost?
yeah, I lost that game, but I was also Intercept, and I'm not very familiar with that.
Hmm.
So your first ever LVO, I remember my first LVO. I remember how packed it was, like my eyes were blowing out of my skull because of the amount of players there were. The environment's different, the taste in the air is different, the level of competition is different. My first experience was 2 and 4 and nerve-wracking. What was yours like being that it was your first, like when you hit that hall, you had to have been like, what the heck?
Yeah, I hit that hall and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot bigger than what you see on YouTube." You know, it's not small. It's big. It's a big hall. Yeah,
Now,
it
mind
was.
you, we were actually in a smaller area this time around, because the store was in the hall that we were in, Jose. And you know where the store used to be? That's the hall we were in. So it was very much more crammed this
Wait,
year.
wait, wait, wait. Something's not mathing out. So
So, well,
LJ
okay,
said this was
so
more players, but we had a smaller hall.
Yeah, so
no,
Okay,
okay, but
explain
real
yourself,
quick,
LJ.
no. We were all like that hall was all Legion basically,
I know,
yeah.
I know.
right? Whereas last year it was like we had about
X-wing
for a quarter of the room we were in,
yeah,
and then the other half or whatever was like X-wing, and then this other thing and the other thing.
X-wing and kill
Like
team.
that room was all Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I
there
was just
might
giving
have
you
And
been
the tables were
there were
closer, so it was a little like more cramped walking through, in my
yeah,
opinion. So yeah.
Oh, the nerd sweat must have been flowing.
I was
you know
bumping
it,
into
baby.
people.
I
Like,
saw you
oh,
guys had
oh,
windows
oh.
and doors, so you guys had to crack them bad boys
Yeah.
open,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we did. We
It was
100% did.
it was really nice because you could just like walk in the side door all the time. So like I went with Justin, and so we literally would drive. We didn't stay at the Rio, so we would drive to the parking lot next to the entrance. And we just walk right into the hall. It was so super nice.
Yeah.
And I
That's
probably
dope.
shouldn't have even mentioned that because next year they might like start closing doors. But
I
Start
mean,
checking wristbands.
yeah, you didn't even need the wristband. You could just walk in.
Shh,
yeah,
JR,
well,
shit.
no, you needed a wristband in order to register for the event, right?
Sure,
So
sure, sure, sure. But yeah, yeah. So were you nervous that first game, man, when you went to go play?
No. I was like pretty confident in my list, like the rundown of what I wanted to do. Um, I think I was more of like because I faced Robert Oppendyke in the first round,
Mm.
and I was like, I feel like Brian played this guy, like, and I thought that you played him in like another LVO at like a final round, so I was just like, oh god, this guy might be really good. Um, so that got me a little worried with my first game, but like I think I had a plan. I knew what I was doing. I stuck with my plan, and a lot of my games were pretty close. Like I think that first one, things went a little bit differently. I probably could have won it.
Is there a moment in any of those games that you felt like you just totally missed the mark, or there was a big mistake that you're just like, oh, if I remember that, that could have won me the game, or a valuable lesson you learned in any of those?
Um, Not necessarily. I think the only one maybe would be a Knicks game where I was out of position.
Hmm.
Because we played shifting priorities and I kind of shifted too far to the right. So if anything, I probably learned that on that one I probably shifted too far. But most of my games, I was aggressive, attacked early. A lot of it was just came down to dice roll, pretty much.
Good. So,
nice.
favorite player you went against or list?
Favorite player or list? Um, Gosh, uh, I'd have to shout out the Tempest Force one because it was pretty good list. Um, it was hard to try and like understand intercept and play him against, but um, it was I like the Tempest Force one.
So, so in that game, did you guys flip to intercept, or did you have an opportunity to flip out of it, or there were other things that were more pressing to worry about than intercept?
On that one, I was blue player, so He had the last
Hmm.
flip.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Being blue player sucks. I hate blue player.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So
Any opponents that rubbed you the wrong way?
Oh man, that's spicy.
probably my first game because I think I got cheated out of it.
Oh,
Oh,
what
hey,
happened?
hey.
Okay.
Shot fired.
Shots fired. Yes.
Did you call a judge?
No,
Yeah, what
'cause I
happened? What?
Then that's
Okay,
your
what makes you
fault.
say
I'm
that?
kidding.
Right? What happened?
It's your
Just
fault.
explain to us. Like you can't just say I was cheated and then not give like the deets, right? So
Well,
give us
I
the
didn't.
whole story.
Yeah, I didn't know I was cheated until after the game because I
Of
was like, I'm
course.
pretty sure that wasn't how it went, and then I asked some people. Basically, the guy that I played against in my first game, I won't say his name again.
Again.
I had
Again.
again.
Just rewind it, guys. Come back.
Yeah, just
I'll
rewind
rewind
it.
it. He's trying to-
You gotta put the R2D2 beep
I
on
like
the
how you
name.
named it my
JR.
name earlier, and now you're like, okay, well now I'm gonna
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
shit.
No,
Like
no,
you should have
no.
just not
Yeah,
named him.
yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah, it's my fault. It's my fault.
So
I
okay,
asked
and,
the question.
and to be fair, right? Like, you don't think like he like cheated you on purpose, right? Like you just think it just
misplay.
happened that way, or
May have been a misplay. May just not playing that CIS is enough to know or understand.
so what happened? Sorry,
What happened? Yeah.
So basically, turn one, I killed his T series commander, took it out.
Wow,
Uh,
against the CS, that's huge.
yeah.
Jeez.
Was it in the
I knew,
open? Don't answer. That's just insane.
Yeah. Turn one, I took out the T series. The very last turn, I was able to take out Dooku, so he had no commanders at that point.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, now I know. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, and so I had shot at some B1s who had 3 suppression. And
Oh, so they're panicked.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they should have been panicked. But when he did the scoring round, he would remove the suppression, then score, and it's supposed to be scoring then suppression.
So
Yeah.
that could be
That could be either.
It could
I
be
like to give people the
either.
benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah, that could just be a giant
Like
misplay on
because
score,
that's a rule that
scoring's
just
hard.
changed, and there are a lot of rules that just changed, and some of them I didn't even know. So
I mean, it's funny because I did ask the same thing when we were scoring. I was like, "Do you remove suppression now or after?" And my opponent directly said, "You score first, then remove the suppression." I was like, "Okay,
correct."
Cool. So I did ask the same thing, so I didn't.
And I think this is a good segue because I was going to mention this later when I talked about. Oh, we forgot to thank the judges, but thank you, judges.
I thank the judges.
But I was gonna talk about this later when I talk about judges. If you ever have a question in a tournament, this is for everyone, not just you, John. Call a judge. Period.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and if it's like if it's a question you know the answer to, but your opponent is like, "Oh, really?" Call a judge. If it's something you know the answer to, or your opponent knows the answer to, and you're like, "Oh, really?" Call a judge. If it's something where both you and your opponent are like, "I think that's how that works," you know what I'm gonna say next. Call a judge, because there were moments where it's like both me and my opponent are like, I'm pretty sure this is how it works, right? I'm just like, all right, judge. And it's like, that's why they're there, right? Like they're there to help us out with the rules stuff. And it's faster than like either looking it up or trying to figure it out, or like, trying to come to an agreement that you and your opponent agree to. It's like, just call a judge.
Keep the game state correct is mainly the goal of it.
Yeah. And it's, that's why they're there, and they're always helpful. And like, I would, like, in general, right? Like calling a judge needs to be it's not a negative thing. When you call a judge, it's positive, right? It's like, let's just get this over. Let's call a judge, right? It's not, ooh, I don't like you, opponent. I think you're lying to me, or I think you're wrong. I'm calling a judge, No, it's just, just call a judge for everything.
When tension gets high, man, when they get really high, you don't want to think your opponent's cheating you or you cheating them, but like sometimes they don't want you to not call for a judge, but it's just like, yeah, I know this answer. And you're just like, well, I feel safe calling judge. And the irritation comes up, just like, okay, all right, let's just get this
over. And so like if your opponent ever gets mad that you called a judge, that's probably a red flag, right? Like always call the judge.
Yeah.
Like even if they're right, call a judge.
And don't take it personal. Like if you're like, something like the back of your hand and your opponent's like, no, I would rather call the judge. Like, don't take it personal because you're right. And then when the judge comes, don't rub it in either. Just be like, okay. And then continue to play.
And I think like just the way you said that right now kind of gets to a good point. Like it's all about how you're talking to your opponent as well. If you're like, oh, well, I want to call a judge, like like just the way you're saying that, right? And that's how a lot of people see it. Is it's like I'm gonna call a judge, you know? It's like no, I'm just gonna call a judge. Like be more like matter of fact and more like positive about it, just in how you're speaking about it. It's not calling out your opponent to call a judge. It's I want to make sure we're doing this right. That's how I see it, at least, right? Like I know I know some of my opponents were very irritated when I called judges because they're like, really? But I'm like, that's why
it's my right.
Just call them. And look, and I know that maybe my like opinion on this is a little bit changed since I judged at Gen Con, because I was so bored at Gen Con. I was walking around those freaking like those lanes.
You're walking around like, you need a judge call? You need a judge call?
Those are the
like,
top
literally like one of the games I
top.
just stood at a table where the two players are just mad at each other just because I'm like, I got nothing better to do. Like there were like 10 tables left. It was like the last day. Everyone had left the tournament to go do Gen Con stuff. So I'm like, look, I'm just gonna stay here. I'll just watch you guys and wait for calls. Like call the judge. That's why they're there. At least my experience is I was bored when I wasn't called. So maybe other people would rather not do anything, but
I think it's also the time constraint, right? You're on a clock, so calling the judge just wastes his time, right? And maybe that's why they don't call the judge.
Except I've always found it's faster because you cut out the
arguing. Yep,
right.
I agree with Rob 1000%.
But if you're like to me, I'm quick to call a judge, and so like that, I don't know, like. If you spend a few minutes arguing about something and then you call a judge, yeah, you're probably wasting time. But like, just don't get to that point in the first place. Just call them.
Yeah.
And so going back to John's thing, because we can just talk about this forever, is so probably should have called a judge. But if you didn't even know to even think to call a judge, right? So, and that's
And I was gonna say that,
and real quick, by the way, even if he had removed the suppression first, if they were at 3 suppression, 2 suppression is still panic for a B1.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was going to say that, at all.
Yeah, the biggest thing is when I asked him, I said, "Hey, wouldn't those B1s be panicked after 3 suppression?" And his response was, "No, they're droids."
Oh,
so
droids
that's
can get panics. They can't be suppressed, but they can be panics.
Yeah, and that was like they said, hard dice down. So that was like the last.
Oh yeah,
round. So,
especially if the round's over. 100% call that judge, like And by the way, JR, can you imagine how good droids would be if they couldn't get panicked?
Oh my god. They should.
He needs a napkin now. Thank you, Rob.
No.
I got 105 B1s. Try to panic them, please. Or try to kill them.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I guess like it could have mattered, but I was in the GT, like I knew I was like, there's no way I'm probably going to be top 10. I want to be
doesn't
like,
matter if you're top 10
can't
or not,
think
right?
that, bro. Still... You can't think that.
Yeah, but...
it's still, don't be afraid to call the judge, right? Like,
yeah, but I also didn't know until after the game, and then I was like, okay, now I understand.
But now you do know. But but like you said, like, hey, wait, like that moment when you said, hey, wait, that's when you call the judge.
Right? Gotcha.
Because if you did say, hey, wait, that means you're thinking you have some doubt in your brain, right? And anytime there's doubt about anything, that's when I call a judge, right? At least me personally. Sure. So,
well,
yeah.
Right on, man. Sounds like you had a blast.
Pretty definitely.
So pretty much you did go 4-2, but you got robbed. You got robbed 1.
Yeah, I got taken 1. Yeah, so.
Nice. All right, Rob, how'd you do? What's your list?
All right, so I'm the loser. Hi. I sucked. As Josh said to me at the end of day 2, get good. Oh, don't worry. He got a paddling for that. Quite literally.
Oh God.
Oh, did you guys go to Hoff?
Yes. Let's talk about that at the end. But there's and the video will be posted, I hope, when Austin Miller posts his 5th Trooper blog post about LVO. And so we don't because I might post it with I might post my video with the on the YouTube link, so it'll just be linked so you guys can watch later, perhaps. I don't know. I'll see whether or not I can get in trouble for that. So but no, so I went 2 and 4. I sucked, and
well,
let me go. Like, in retrospect, I did a couple of things really wrong, but I'll talk about that more later. So my list was, in my opinion, the best or one of the best things that Empire could do, which, you know, I lost to 2 Empire lists, so I guess that wasn't true. And so I ran Vader Dewbacks. And so I had Darth Vader Commander, of course, with the Dewbacks. And there's actually a rules interaction I'm going to talk about here in a moment with that. But he had Saber Throw, Force Push, Burst, Aggressive Tactics, so that I could, every single turn, or sorry, every single game, I Darkness Ascend Divulged. And so that meant I had a surge every round, which is not as good as 2 surges, but, you know, 1 is better than 0.
Right.
So for 15 points, worth it. Then I had Krennic with binoculars for the compel mostly. Other than that, I would have probably just had a normal officer. It's just the compel, primarily for the Dewbacks, which doesn't work how I thought it did. Then I had 3 DLT storms. One of the squads had a med droid. In retrospect, I didn't really use the med droid as much as I thought I would, and this has been something I've noticed. And it was for Vader, but like I think I used it on Vader like once because Vader's like going yeet. And so it's like being used on something, but not on Vader. So I use it on Dewbacks a lot, Death Troopers a lot, but I don't know quite about
20 points,
droid.
right?
Like, it's better if you have a bunch of them because then you're just like, all right, well, Vader's definitely going to live, right? With one med droid, they can still kill through it, right? Then I had 2 Ion Snowtroopers, which were like, in my opinion, like the best decision I've made with this list by far. Like, if I could have had 3 of those or 4, that would have been a great decision. There was a ton of droids. There was a ton of armor. So much stuff that Ion was just like perfect. Like I loved having that. Like I think Snows are the best core in Empire right now, even better than Storms.
Wow.
So like I think you want both because the Storms still have that range 4 poke, which is good. But man, those Snows felt really good.
What about Riots?
Then I had some Death Troopers with Tom's Relay and, you know, the Heavy, of course. And then 3 Dewbacks. Oh shit.
What happened?
2 Dewbacks with RT-97Cs, I hope. I just realized that now, like, the list I'm looking at on Tabletop Admiral is T21, so I'm hoping my LVO list I submitted has RT-97Cs because
Speaking
I
of
use
cheating,
RT-97Cs on every single
We'll cut that part out. We'll cut it out.
If it did say T21, that's Grayson's fault because he told me to do T21s, and so I changed it, and then I changed my mind and changed it back to RT-97Cs all within like 5 minutes. So I'm just hoping I submitted the right list. If not, I went 2 and 4.
My question is, why did you put anything on them in the first place?
For the poke.
Yeah,
I see. You gotta yeet those bad boys.
We'll talk about that because that philosophy is why I lost. But a lot of my games, yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Then my 3rd Dewback had an HQ uplink and a flamethrower, which normally I'm really good about using it. This tournament I was like awful with using the flamethrower where it needed to be.
Well, there's a big reason why you're awful. I want to give you the blame on.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get there. So that was my list, right? Vader, Dewbacks, Krennic. Like, to me, like, this is what Empire does. We get in your face and we kill you. Is this what I want to be doing with Empire? No, I'd rather be sitting range for a gun line and murdering you from far. But this is the world we live in. So my first game was with Isaiah from Seattle. I actually met him at Gen Con. And so like, I was like, and he was, you know, at one point he played against Justin from Modesto. And so like, you know, he's a fun guy to play. He's a fun guy. I got to play round 1 against him. It was a great game. List wise, he was playing Obi-Wan Bad Batch clones. And it was, he did a great job. Oh, and then he had Flutters and ISPs. And we played Close the Pocket and Destroy Enemy Base. And the reason I'm bringing this up is just as like a learning moment for everybody. He put his Destroy Enemy Base like back in the back left corner and deployed everything in the back right corner. He also gave me advanced intel. We both had 11 acts, or he had like 10 or something, but I got to go last with 2 things because he also played air support round 1. And so I got to go last with 2 things. And those 2 things were Vader and my unit with the bomb, my Flamer Dewback. And by round 3, that Flamer Dewback had destroyed his base. Because all he had defending it were like a couple of units he had placed in the center or like in the side that had moved towards the center. And so that won me the first game, right? And we talked about this after game. He knows that. It was a fun game. It was close. I killed a lot of his stuff anyways. But like, you know, he he had some arcs, and those arcs like got to attack Vader once, and they did like 3 wounds, and then he got attacked with arcs again, and they took like 4 wounds. It's like arcs are too good.
They really
Like
are.
that's
Way
our
too
arcs
good.
are way too good, and so
AMG, you suck. Fix them.
but the fun thing about that game is I kind of baited his ISPs with like 3 storms for a bit. And I had like an Ion Snow on the side that wasn't getting attacked at all by his ISPs because, you know, he wanted to beam with them. And so the Snows are just able to just like pop free shots for like 3 rounds straight into one of his ISPs, and I killed him. And so that was game 1. Game 2 was also against Republic. And this game was with, I mixed up the list. So game 1, this is right. Yeah. So game 2 was Cody. Cody with some shotgun clones that have Pierce, which is actually really good. He actually had double squads for 2 of those. So he had double clones with a shotgun.
Nice.
2 arcs with captains, 2 ATRTs. And that I think is 10x because he also had like a 5s clone trooper squad and a normal commander. And he's actually the one that played the 2-pip round 1. I don't remember what Isaiah played round 1. But he did that so that he could do like a Cody shot with the beam into my stuff. I spent a lot of that game being dominant shooting one of the ATRTs. That didn't go really well. And this is, by the way, the game where Vader got like kind of hit really hard by the arcs. Not the last game. In the last game, Vader like ran straight into Obi-Wan and like murdered him. So that game, Vader was game 1. Vader was just like round 1, infiltrate, boom, straight into your lines, kill a squad. Round 2, kill another squad or Obi-Wan or something like. He just
Vader
like
things.
murdered everything. The dudes did the same thing. Game 2, kind of same thing. And the reason I mixed these 2 games up is because the opponent in game 2 did the exact same thing with the bunker, where he put the bunker on the far left and the rest of his army in the far right. And so I walked to the bunker again with the dewback and destroyed it. And so that was another win because of that.
The idea seems like they want to make you waste time to get over there while they play catch up, or that's
but I just used the dewback and just went
keep moving. Yeah,
right. Well, because the dewbacks, I just triple spurred with it and just destroyed it, or something like that. Like it wasn't panicked or anything. Like, but it was something like that. Either way, won that game, was feeling pretty good, got into game 3, and I fought a list that I think is just way overtuned points wise still. And I'm like, how does this still feel so hard to beat? And that was I fought Anakin 501st with 3 freaking snipers, 3 arcs, 2 commandos, and it's just so much to shoot through, man. So much. And not only that, like,
what's the name of this opponent?
This is the guy you played round 6, the Polish guy.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And so like in that game, like that man had so many freaking tokens. I was like, where are these all coming from? And so it was so frustrating. And I ended up losing this game. And in part, it's because like my dudes just got murdered off, like shot off the board round 1. And like I probably didn't need to go so far with them round 1, but like I was playing like the JR strat where you're just like, you're getting these dewbacks in round 2 no matter what. You're playing New Ways round 2. Like in the past, I never played New Ways, right? And so I probably should have practiced a little more games with New Ways before I started doing it in the tournament. But I was like, all right, this is how I need to win. I need to be aggressive, need to get them in. And the dudes just got shot off the board round 1, like the next 4 games straight. And so like in this game, it was like he went with his snipers last and they went snipe, hide behind a building, snipe, because they get scouts, they get to scout, shoot, hide behind a building. So he did that 3 times. One of the dewbacks is almost dead. And the reason for that is I didn't have anywhere to hide him.
Yeah.
Like at all. I had a building that was like the size of my phone. And you're trying to hide a dewback behind that. It's
with a high silhouette.
It was higher. So the dewback was tall enough or short enough that it was lower than the building. But the building wasn't long enough that you could actually hide a dewback behind it. And so the dewback, like I had the dewback straight behind the middle of the building, and he was getting shots from this angle because, you know, the building's not big enough. So the dewbacks just get shot up.
But doesn't don't creature troopers have a higher? Don't creature troopers have a taller silhouette? So he could have shot you anyways.
No. I was the building was taller than the silhouette.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
wondering.
So they could hide behind the building in theory, but in reality, because of angles, they just couldn't. And he had snipers at range 5, and they just went shoot, shoot, shoot. And to be fair, he had some really bad shots round 1 with the snipers. Like 2 of them whiffed, kind of bad, ultimately. And yet still by round 2, they go and the dewbacks are like just getting murdered slowly but surely. Because he also had the 2 commandos shooting at range 4, and those did really good damage to them. There was a building on the other side that I maybe could have done instead, but it's like it was bunker assault, so I have to defend both sides. And so, like, I think next time I do the dewbacks on the other side, maybe, or something but like it really felt light. And I do think that like I know I played some stuff wrong, but it was just very frustrating. It's like, all right, well, I guess I can't hide this dewback, because it's like, all right, I'm gonna hide this dewback, and then he just starts shooting it and shooting and shooting. It's like, okay, well,
So
that's
then,
fun.
in your opinion, because I know you were upset by not being able to eat them, you think it was mostly the table or the strategy?
That is the reason I lost that game.
Yeah. In general, in all of
or
the
in
games that you
general,
lost.
like
Yeah.
in general, there was some game like let's like that game. Like, I don't want to say that was entirely the table's fault, because like I did have a decent LOS blocker on the other side, right? It's just he put Anakin prepared positions right here, and I wanted my dudes to start heading towards Anakin, right? And so like I probably focused too much on that instead of like hiding them behind the big building and then pushing in from the side like that, because they probably could have done that and been fine. Like, I probably should have just left one of my bunkers just to die, but like that sounds really bad. But one of my bunkers had literally no LOS blockers other than that building. And any of my troopers couldn't make it to that building until the next turn. So they would have been shot off the board.
I think this is where we have a disagreement when it comes to this list, or any list with Vader dudes. It's because what I noticed you like to do is you like to do Dark Descents to infiltrate, right? And then play New Ways to Motivate. Whereas I like to do Assault or something to the effect of putting HQ on my dudes to make sure they have an order turn 1, because you need them to go last.
Right. And I was giving them the orders I could. Particularly like I always gave an order with Tranich round 1. But I do see what you're saying here. Like, if I were to do this list again, I do think like I would try to get HQ uplink on 2 of the dudes.
Drop
on all
the
of the
medic.
dudes, and then 2 of the dudes can use it round 1, and 1 of the dudes can use it round 2. Right? Because
drop the medic.
That would not be quite enough points, because it's 19.
Isn't it? It's
22 now, huh?
Yeah, drop the medic, and there's your 2 uplinks.
We could also drop the weapons on the dudes. So I don't like putting things on the dudes because their whole job is to get there and start biting.
Right, and that's totally fair too. But anyways, right. The next game I played up against Remnant on I think the worst Legion table I've ever played.
Which one was this one?
Sure?
Like,
you sure?
Yes.
You've had an extensive history with terrible tables.
Yes.
No, I think wasn't this one the really bad table?
This is the one that, by the way, John bought the mat for this table.
Yeah.
So this, man, I have a picture on my phone. I might like, but I don't have it easily available. But picture this: you have 2 buildings in the back corner, and you have lots of like literally the entire center of the board was open, entire center, and you have all these big buildings in the back. It's also the I think it's Macedon. No. JR, what's the circular train you have? Naboo?
Yep.
Is it Naboo? Okay.
Yep, it's Naboo.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate that terrain. It's garbage. Like,
really?
garbage.
I love that terrain.
You can't hide any, like, it's not enough LOS blocking, like, at all in that terrain. And by the way, we set up one of those tables at VetFest, and I thought that was our worst table by a mile at VetFest. Because there's just not enough stuff blocking LOS. And I get you need to have some tables that don't have a million LOS blockers, but every table needs to have some.
Right.
The players get to rule it, though.
Because they're all the buildings are circular, it's so easy to get these side shots.
Yeah.
And Legion is all side shots now.
Which, to be fair, there are some big circular ones that you can hide behind, but if you're trying to hide dudes, it's easy to get that side shot.
Yeah. Right. But anyways, so for my game, I didn't have anything to hide the dudes behind. So I started pushing them up, and they just got like literally like a Death Trooper squad came up and did like 4 wounds to do back. Like, just like, and it was like late in the round too, but it was just like once the Death Troopers, I was playing Remnant Double Dark Trooper. And like it was breakthrough, which I wasn't comfortable with because I'd never played before. So that was my first problem. Like I needed to have played that, understood how to play it, right? The second problem is after the game, I talked to Timbo, who's one of the judges, and I said, "Hey, who set up this table? This is the worst table I've ever played." He said, "Oh, I did." And then I said, "Yeah." But then he said, right? Then he said, "But I didn't set it up like this." And he had a picture from LJ from the morning where one of the buildings was in the center and not on the edge. Somebody had moved an entire friggin' building.
See,
In that building, if it had been in this where Timbo had put it, I could have hid my Duvaks behind it.
question:
It lived.
when you got the pairing, did you show up to the table before your opponent?
No, I don't think the opponent did it.
I didn't.
I don't remember if I showed up first, but there's no way the opponent.
God
I-
damn, Jay.
I'm not
No,
accusing
there's
the
no
opponent.
way,
I'm not
man. No.
accusing the
God.
opponent. But what we can say is somewhere in between when the table was made to where Rob played, terrain was moved.
You know, and it could have been like, so day one we played on the first 3 rounds of day one we played on the community tables, which I thought were all great. I don't know if they were, but the ones I played on were fine. Well, I guess I just complained about table 3, but you know. But like this is when we moved over to the tables that the GT players had been using for 6 rounds straight. Right. So over the 6 rounds the GT players have been playing on, shit happens, right?
Right.
Did somebody probably move that stuff? Maybe. It was also on the end, like the edge of the area of play for Legion players. So literally could have been some random person after the night was over, day one, just move it for ha-has, you know?
You see,
like, I don't think it was my opponent, you know?
It could have. It could. I know. When we went, they did change some of the tables around. The judges changed some of the tables around the next day. I remember them having a
I don't know if it was
conversation. So
that,
it could have
right,
been an
but
executive decision that, hey, because we don't like the way this table played. A lot of players complained about it. Let's try this, and
Well,
that led to that
there's no
table.
way players complained about that table and they said, "Hey, let's get rid of LOS."
The
Because
gun
when I
lines
say
who
there
don't
was no
want that
LOS,
LOS
Yeah,
there.
gunlines don't want
The
LOS.
gun lines don't want big buildings in the middle.
No.
Like we were no, it's not even in the middle. We were playing breakthrough, which is sort of on the edge. Like
Right.
literally, this breakthrough had 0 LOS blocker from his deployment to mine, and I'm not exaggerating. Literally 0. There is literally 0. Like straight line, straight open. He's playing freaking Remnant with Dark Troopers. So like I did my best to I sent a couple units just to kind of hold the line. And I got shredded. And that game was actually close. And that game came down to, even though I got shredded in both these 2 games, I could have won if I played better. And the reason I know that is because in this game, it came down to the fact that we were playing sweep and clear, which my list is apparently terrible at, because at no point in the tournament when I played sweep and clear, which I played 3 friggin' times, did I get an advantage out of it. In fact, in all those games, it is the reason I lost. Because in all of those games, my opponent is able to get a kill turn 1, and I can't. And then, so I'm just behind on points the entire game. And so it's just I just don't have enough freaking kill power, it seems. All my, and I'm talking, I played Rebels, I played everything but Rebels. I played Republic, I played Empire, I played CIS, and all 3 of them did better at that than I did. So I'm if that's getting out of if I play this list again, that's out. Period. Because it just was a total detriment. But anyway, so the game literally came down to the fact that I had a stormtrooper squad hiding behind a building over on the right side of the field. I had literally killed basically everything on the left side. Vader was winning that. I did great. Round 1 or round 2, I was contesting that point on his side, so he wasn't scoring it. He wasn't doing that on the right side, so I was ahead, other than the fact that we were playing sweep and clear. And the game came down to, he got a enemy territory kill because I didn't think he could move his dark troopers into range of my my storms, but he could. And so I hid them to the right so that they wouldn't get killed by his death troopers on the left. But if I hid them on the left to the death troopers, well, then if the death troopers kill them, number 1, it doesn't matter because they don't get the kill points for being in friendly territory. And number 2, well, again, it doesn't matter because it's the dark troopers didn't kill him. So that, and that I literally think lost me the game. It's just literally I cohered to the left to the right instead of the left. And so that felt bad, but fine. I'm now 2-2. Day 1's over. Day 3, I'm a little bit irritated already. And I play Palpatine what was it? He played Palpatine, Vader, Snows, IRG Range Troopers. And we get to a table. And it was probably somehow worse than the table I just said was the worst Legion table I've ever played on.
God.
Fortunately, both of us said, "Oh my god, this table is terrible," and it was so bad, mind you, that so here's it had the same thing as last year. Where here's the straight line, right? On his side of the table, we hadn't chosen table side, but the side he chose originally, there was a divot, like across the entire table. So I don't know how people played on that. Like I saw somebody the next round playing on it, and I'm like, dude. I just told, like, both of us said, "Hey, judge, can we move?" And they said, "Yeah." And we said, "This is awful. Look at this." And the judge said, "Oh my God, how could we still be allowing this?" And then someone is playing on it the next round. I'm like, bro, what is going on here? They move us to another table. That new table isn't great for me either, but you know, it's better. Not a lot of LOS blockers for dues. Fast forward, they start getting shot up again. And this is a game that, like, by round 3, I was like, okay, this is just like unwinnable. And so I ended up, this is the first game I conceded. Like all the other games I basically fought till the end, but this game I just conceded because I'm like, all right, after round 3, I've killed like 1 unit, you've killed like 3. But he was able to ordnance my snows that didn't have a commander near them, and so they panicked, and so I didn't score. And so I'm like, on score, you're ahead. There's no way for me to get ahead on score, so you won. Plus, you've got Palpatine, who at any point can just come on in and kill more stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't have a way to win this, right? What was interesting about that game is that is finally the game where I learned how apparently I've been doing New Ways wrong. So the way New Ways works is you do the New Ways
head
wound.
tilted right now.
Yeah.
So and this has changed, I've been told. But you start by doing the New Ways card. So you do New Ways wound, take your action, then you roll suppression, and see if you're panicked or whatever. And then you can decide if you're going to compel.
What?
And then you can do your other action if you're panicked or if you're suppressed.
Sure that's right?
Yes.
That
like
seems
we called
so
the judge
much more
over.
complicated.
Yeah, I know. We called the judge over and I'm like, really? And they said yes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've been doing that wrong.
Where was that changed at?
I don't know. I don't know how it's why.
I need
why
documentation.
It's like that. If I remember correctly, it's because the rules say that you do command card effects before everything else now, apparently.
Hold on a minute.
I'm in shock.
No, hold on. Yeah, because we had a discussion about this. Not New Ways to Motivate, but I can't remember that example. But I'm going to read the card right here on New Ways to Motivate. It says,
"What does it matter what the card says, right? What matters is you do command card effects, and then because it says at the start of your turn, you do that, and then you do your suppression.
Yeah, the timing makes sense then.
No, it's not what the command card says. The command card says when a friendly non-Darth Vader trooper unit with a face of order token activates, it may suffer 1 wound to perform 1 free action. So it's not the start of the command phase. It started.
No, I didn't. I didn't mean during the command phase. I meant during the start of their turn.
So, and we talked about something, Rob and John. I can't remember what it was, but it's we were at the pizza place.
No, you're thinking of we talked about Leia's card.
Yeah.
No Way for Sorrow.
Yeah.
That's different because that is during the command phase.
Okay, sure.
But
this one says when a face of word activates. So you activate it.
So
what is the rally step?
Yeah. I'll do the whole thing again. So
okay.
I am activating this dewback with a face-up order token. Like, let's be fully clear here, right?
Yeah.
At that moment, I can decide, do I take the wound or not? I say yes. I make that move, which may include a suppression because I compelled, and then I roll my suppression to see if I am suppressed or panicked. At that moment, if I am suppressed, I can then be compelled with that, or I can then compel that dewback. Which means that after the first move, they still need to be in range 2 of Krennic.
So,
which is
hold on a minute. Did you look this up already, or you just go?
This is what the judge called. This is what the judge said.
Right.
The judges are wrong.
The judges are wrong. When does the rally step take place?
All right, so we're just gonna open up the room.
No, we need to because I'm not throwing any names out. But when I was watching streams, I heard a lot of go back and forth about. Well, that's not the rule. Well, that's the way the judge ruled it. Oh, the judge decided. So if judges are making these errors, then there's room to be questioning these things. Because I was watching the live stream, and there was a couple rulings that happened where me and the chat was like, "Nah, wait, what?" And then we hear the announcers like, oh, so the not the head judge, the side judge made that call.
Okay,
what?
okay,
Like,
so
Okay, I have it right here.
so if you go to page 23,
Yep.
it says parts of the unit's activation. Step 1, resolve any abilities or effects at the start of a unit's activation. So new ways to motivate you. Step 2, rally. Step 3, perform actions. Compel occurs during the rally step because it says like if you're suppressed, you can, right? Like that unit can be compelled or something like that. I don't know what the specific ruling is, right? But that happens during rally. And then you do your action. So basically, after that first move from New Ways, if you're not in range 2 of Krennic, there was no point in you doing that in the first place. The New Ways wound in the first place.
They did change. Yep. Rob's correct.
And so I was
you
like,
don't have to go the
shit.
full move though. If you need to stay in Krennic's range, you could get the free move still.
Correct. And
It
so
may not be
that's what I ended
move,
up
but you
doing in
can-
this game because
Yeah.
like I did a move and then he's like, oh wait, isn't it this? And I'm like, wait, is it? And
Or
so,
you
you know,
pre-position-
there was a question mark, and so I called a judge, right?
Or you
Um,
pre-position Krennic now that you know that.
Correct.
that
And so
he
now
needs
that
to
I
get
know,
more.
I have to play it a little differently. Krennic has to be a little
Yeah.
more aggressive, right? There's a couple things you can do to mitigate this.
Yeah.
It's still worse than it was before. It is still annoying.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
I agree.
Like-
I agree.
Right.
John's like, all the judges
by
were
the way, when this
great.
happened, by the way, like I was about to lose my third game. And so at this point, I'm like totally tilted, right?
Yep.
And so you
I
know,
would be
not
tilted
totally
too.
tilted, but I was a little frustrated. Especially because it's like, again, my dudes got shot off the board turn 1 pretty much. Not entirely, but it was just enough that it's just like
How many
okay.
acts was your list again?
11. But the problem is I was playing the list where the other things, the list where the dudes were dying, it was all like the range 4 lists, right?
Sure, but
And
if they're going last, they're not going to get up shut up. They won't die.
Well, they
on
weren't
turn
going
one.
last, right? So it
Right,
goes
right,
back
right,
to your
right.
whole they need
Yeah,
HQ
yeah.
uplinks, and I think you're right, right? They
Yeah,
just
yeah,
needed to
yeah.
have HQ uplinks.
Yeah.
And I think in the future, I don't put the guns, I just put HQ uplinks or something to that.
Right,
effect,
right.
And so that's, you know, I think next year I needed to practice more before LVO, but you know.
Yes.
You tried to pull a me, didn't you? You tried to pull a me, didn't you?
Well, no, the problem is I did practice LVO by playing Invader League, by playing EXD.
why didn't you take
I wasn't
The
practicing
wrong
for
list.
LVO list.
The
And
wrong
you know what? If I have to be honest, like playing EXD, I got so many bad habits because that list is busted.
Yeah.
It is so
Yeah.
good.
Why didn't you take EXD?
I don't know any of it.
I would have let you
Dude,
borrow
we could
mine.
lend it to.
I know I
ha-
should have. I should have. And you know what's funny is like
I told
both
you.
Scott and Justin both brought Snail EXD, and I'm like, all right, well, clearly I was on the right boat here, like, or on the same right page here with this.
Mhm.
Like, I brought
The
Empire
only
because
thing-
that's what I have, and I'm an Empire.
You would
player,
just need
know?
you would just need the snails from GR because I have everything else.
I just have one snail though. I do need to get a second.
Daniel had a Snail too.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah,
if I'd
yeah.
asked,
Yeah,
you
right?
could have got it, dude. We
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
got
yeah.
it for
We
you.
could've got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, it's like it's other people's stuff.
would've been
It's-
disappointed
It's,
in
a
you,
long,
though.
it's a big trip, like, and I wasn't even the one driving there, right? So it's like I
What does
wanted to
that
bring my
mean?
own stuff.
Well, I'm going to throw a little shout out to our local community. Do not be afraid to borrow our stuff. As long
Yeah,
as
me
you-
too. Like, if you want to borrow my
Yeah.
stuff, I like.
As
I
long
have
as
stuff.
you're respectful to our stuff, you know, you can borrow it because there's no excuse why you shouldn't bring the list that you want to bring, in my opinion. There's too much. You can't have that much money to buy all these armies. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you do.
Well, yeah.
You have enough money to buy the armies and then have Jose paint and build them for you.
And
So.
then-
There it is. There it is.
Well, hold on, Jose. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But anyways,
Um,
so game 6, good game. It was against Tanner. I forget where he's from, but you know, he was playing CIS. And by this point, I just played poorly, like flat out. The map was also bad. The terrain was also bad for me. And so like I walked up to the table and I literally saw this massive, like a massive bridge. And on the side of the bridge, it was like the LOS blocker. And I'm like, all right, this is small, like I can't hide to do back behind this. And so again, I was like, all right, I just showed up, saw the table. I'm like, all right, well, I've already lost. And by that point, that's bad. Like you shouldn't do that if you're
Yeah.
don't do that ever, right? That's me being tilted. And I recognize I was tilted, and that's, you know, not fun for me, not fun for the opponent, but I did my best even with the tilt. And it came close again. Like it came down to me making the wrong decision. Vader could have gone left to kill some droidicas or to the back to try to kill some ion spiders on intercept the transmissions. And basically, like, that probably was the better call. And sweep and clear. I lost sweep and clear round 1. I wasn't able to catch up. Vader, if he had gone to the back, probably could have caught up on sweep and clear. If he did go to the left, it would have been fine if I had then the next turn killed the freaking Droidicas and went with Vader early. Instead, you know, and he didn't even go with the Droidicas until like the 5th thing on his turn too. And I still didn't go with Vader because I didn't think about the fact that they're on big bases. And so they get to move farther than Vader does. And I can saber throw, but they still had their freaking shield tokens. And so he did that, and I'm like, oh, cool. Why didn't I go with Vader? Like, and so that, you know, that was just me being dumb, me making a misplay. But again,
Bad piloting.
Man, it was like, I'm
No,
gonna
it
say
happens.
it's like
Bad piloting.
probably 50% me making bad calls, my losses, and like 50% like these tables, like, which is so friggin' open, to the point of absurdity. But yeah, that was my experience. I had fun. That night was made better by the fact that we then went to Hofbrauer House. So I'll talk about that after we talk about JR. Let's listen from the winner.
Well,
all right.
well hold on. Before.
Oh, wait.
Winner.
One more thing. Actually, one more thing.
Winner. He's a disappointment.
This is the game.
I think he got robbed. I think he got robbed for 3rd.
You know, I did get robbed.
You
for
did.
3rd, and I got robbed in my game that I lost because the gods betrayed me. The dice gods. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Real quick. This is the game. Since we're probably not going to do rules questions, this is the game. Game 6 of LVO, where I learned how cover works in Star Wars Legion.
I didn't know
There
this.
is none. It's on your head.
Because as of the new rules, 2.6, and this wasn't in blue, apparently the title was in blue, so that's my fault for not reading all the blue titles. But, you know, none of the other podcasts did that I saw. Nobody in the Discord mentioned this. No, Josh didn't mention it when I was at his freaking tournaments this year. Like, nobody at, you know, any of the tournaments I went to said this. So, like, I feel like, yes, it's my fault, but I'm going to blame everyone else for not noticing as well, okay?
It's everybody's fault but Rob's. That's all.
It's everybody's fault for me. You know what? I love that, Jose. But the way cover works now is if your unit has cover, including from suppression, then if at least a single mini is in heavy cover, that unit has heavy cover. The old rules were it had to be half your mini. Now it's a single mini. And Tanner was an expert at this. An expert at like hiding his units behind some light cover, but then having one guy behind heavy cover. And the first time it happened, I was like, holy shit. I called a judge. I'm like, really? And you know, they said, yeah, that's how that works. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
I literally said like 3 times. He's like, yes, that is how that works. And then that night I went and I read the rules and I'm like, why isn't this blue? Because that's exactly what it says. Like, it's so clear in English. If you just read the rules, it's just right there. It's not even like a gotcha or you should have checked the form. No, that's just what it says.
Old Legion had
it wasn't blue,
like
so I didn't
that,
notice it.
where
So-
if you had half a unit, if you had like majority, or if you have a unit split
you have
between
you have
light
a
and
super
heavy,
squad of B1s, 14 minis or whatever it is with the heavy. They're hiding behind a barricade. Or no, they're hiding behind light cover. A single mini is behind a barricade. That unit has heavy cover.
yeah, it's amazing.
It's wild. It's wild. It's wild.
But cover, I don't know, like it sounds. If it was Old Legion, I'd be like, cool, 2 off the top, I'll take it every time. But you're rolling for cover. It's not even cover most of the time.
Yeah, but
we'll get to that.
yeah,
We'll get to that.
the other thing I learned that game, which, you know, I actually learned it because I did this to him first. And then I realized what was happening to me. Is apparently when you're playing intercepts, you can lose your whatever thingy that lets your scanner, I think it's called, by being panicked during the round. I thought it happened on your activation. So I was like, all right, my dude's fine, Vader will be there. So I panicked a B2. And you know, I had gone with my scanner dewback like 2 moves, so he was suppressed, then he shot it once. And then he's like, all right, and I lose my scanner. I'm like, fuck. Oh, sorry for the swear. But like, because then the next thing he did is he
Nick's
shot
not here.
my
Drop the
dewback.
F-bomb.
And then I
Dollar in
lost
the
my
swear
scanner.
jar.
I'm like, all right, well, there goes that plan of just yeeting the dewback into his back line so I could, you know, score it for free. But, you know, all right, that's all I've got. Like, yeah, I just wanted to mention those 2 rules because those were just like crazy. Like, oh my God, this is how the rules work now. Like, but yeah. All right, let's hear from the could be champ.
Well, I wanted to ask you, okay, what was your best opponent? Like, what was the one that you were just like, I gotta give this
The
guy a shout out?
tables.
Like the best
The
opponent, like
tables.
this is the best player I'm playing
Undefeated.
against.
Yeah, like you just had a good time with that opponent.
Oh, okay. My best opponent player wise was probably the guy I played round 3, the Polish guy that you played round
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, he's
The
super
player I probably had the most fun against is probably Isaiah, which was round 1, because we I don't know, it just felt like we were having fun. Like there wasn't that pressure there yet, and there probably should have been more pressure, but it's like I didn't know the guy, but I knew of the guy. I knew of the guy basically. So, and it was just a fun game. Like overall, like that was probably my most fun game. It was the first game. Like if I had lost that game, I still would have been a fun game. So,
Yeah, so give us the opponent that rubbed you the wrong way.
rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Opponent that I don't know if any of my opponents rubbed me the wrong way. Like, oh, this guy is I don't like that guy. But the Polish guy was the hardest to play against. Partially because I couldn't quite see what he was doing with his tokens, and there was a little bit I think of a language barrier because I couldn't quite hear what he was saying. And it's not his fault, right? Like I'm not blaming him, but like that to me was like there were a couple moments where I'm like, wait, what is going on? Wait, what's happening? And it's not him. It's just like it was just harder for me because he's playing a list with so much friggin' tokens. I just lost track, and so there were multiple frustrating moments where it's like, yes, I gotta wound them, and he's like, oh, I use this surge from over here. And I'm like, I thought you spent that surge. He's like, no, I use this surge from over here. I'm like, oh, these things are impossible to kill, right? It's like, and it's not even like he was my worst opponent or I didn't like him. It was just like that was the most frustrating game for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of the opponent though; it was because of the list that they were playing.
You don't like clones at all because you've done that to me. Where'd this come from? Where'd that come from? Like, bro, it's
I'm with Rob on this one. I am
like,
so
you know what? You're right, Jose. I do that
Yeah.
to you too. So it's not. It's just I don't like clones. I hate clones.
Yeah, no. It's a Rob thing. Like, but I don't blame you.
100% with Rob on this. I hate clones. I hate playing against clones. AMG, do better because seriously, the amount of tokens they can share, the amount they generate,
especially the arcs.
Yeah.
They like just the amount of aims they get from turn 1 just for existing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, why did they give Scout Tactical back?
Yeah,
why
they took it away?
Yeah, Gar players are trash, man.
Oh my god!
I play for the good guys now.
Good. Yeah, go throw all your Gar in the trash. Okay.
No.
I was gonna say one thing. As a Gar player, I think playing against 501st is terrible. Like the time I played Daniel for the league, like I couldn't get any shots through. It was crazy.
And like I bet you Gar players always feel like people are accusing them of cheating. It's because you generate so many tokens. You're like, hey, where did that come? Because I do it all the time. Like, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? They're just like this, and this, and this. And you just, I would be on the other end and be like, I promise you I'm not cheating. That's just what my army does.
No. Yeah. And like again, I didn't think he was cheating. I was just like, bro, where are all these tokens coming from?
I run out of tokens sometimes. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. But yeah, so my experience. All right, I won the champ. Oh no, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I lost.
No, you didn't.
I got number top four. But let me go over my list. So my list is conveniently called Juyo Dojo, and the reason for that is everything in my list has 3 activations, pretty much, right? Obviously, those activations can only be used for certain things, i.e., move, compulsory move, jump. But my list is Pogo the Lesser, Maul with Saber Throw, 5 Geonosians with a Geonosian Warrior Squad, and then a naked Geonosian Warrior. 3 Steps, 1 with HQ uplink, and 2 with link target and rig. So my strategy going in, and I know a lot of people want to know why I brought the bugs, is they have a very high mobility and a very high potential damage output. And I say that potential is because my game I lost, I got nothing. But we'll get to that. So yeah, the whole point is to play at last turn 1, give Maul a wound, so you can have his 3, active actions, and then throw them down my opponent's throat. Try to pick something off turn 1, and then turn 2, play We Serve the Queen, coordinate everybody so that all my queens or all my Geonosians get a aim and a dodge, and then go with the Staps and Maul So that way my opponent has to deal with them first, and then the Geonosian Warriors coming next. It was really good. It worked really well until my game
I
against
talked you
Austin.
into that list, jerk.
Yeah, and to give a shout out to my man Jose, who is my paint commissioner or who's my artist. He paints all of my models and builds all my models. So I know people thought I did all that slaving. Nope. I delegate all that slavery to Jose to build all that.
Slavery. Hey, you're
Slavery.
paying that man, I hope. Actually, I think I overheard Jose once saying that his daughters have a college fund because of JR.
The JR tuition fund.
The JR tuition, yeah.
He's
The JR scholarship.
He's teaching his daughter, so I'm gonna ditch Jose for his daughter to do that when that happens.
You think Jose, make sure they're charging the same rate as you are, okay? Teach them early, all right? Know their worth.
No, they're gonna charge more because they're gonna be better than me.
Oh.
There you go. Watch, they're gonna enter the paint contest and win every time. Like, why can't you do this, Dad?
Because I didn't try. Lose all the battles you don't try.
So yeah, so I gotta give Jose a shout out because I know everyone's been asking, like, man, all these look really good, and they do. They look really amazing. I did hear through the grapevine that maybe one person complained about it, but it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I ran. And my first opponent was running 501st, and I just dropped dead inside because that's what I didn't want to go against is Gar because they're so good right now. But my opponent, we were playing on a Hoth map, with kind of the hot terrain from Legion terrain.
Yeah.
So that map is kind of open. So I am on the boat, and we'll get there later. Like, there needs to be a lot more LOS blocking. I think I didn't suffer as much because I have the mobility to catch up quickly. So I could afford to stay far away to make up that gap, to close the gap to shoot. And
I just want to, it's not my list, but I want to spend a moment to talk about that last thing you just said. Because when I played against your list once, to me, that was like what made your list good, is that extra move. Right. Because you can stay super far back turn one, so like I can only shoot your range 4, and then you just move right in and you just start murdering people. And that's what I think makes your whole list work, is that extra move.
Especially with Poggle, because go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, to counter that, like, even if you tried to do the opposite of Rob and not shoot at range 4, like you try and move in, you can still just move, aim, shoot, like, and just hit anything coming in too. So it's like, it's kind of like great at range and like short range discipline.
I will say though, the amount of dice that unit has, you don't really need an aim. You're just move, shoot, move backwards, right? Sure. Or something. Though JR's could talk to that more than I can, right?
Yeah, because like another thing too is nobody really tried to. I mean, I did hide Poggle behind a lot of LOSs, so they didn't really get a chance to snipe him. But Poggle has Compel, which is really huge for my Geonosians because they only have Courage 1. So if I need them to double move, I can Compel, then do the free jump, and then fire. And like I said, on the Reserve the Queen, it's really nice if you could get 2 aims, but if you can't, you can just double move and you have aim, shoot, right? Right, and just like Rob said, that's 18 dice I'm throwing. 9 black, 9 white. So it's gonna do relatively a good output.
Surge up, surge down, or no surge?
No surge up. We do surge down though, but no up. Which is fair. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's that fair because look at the sleeper cells. Like, why couldn't you give my Geonosians surge to hit? Like,
no.
Sleeper cells don't move an extra move.
Yes, they do. They scout, then move, and then shoot.
But they don't get to do it all game. You get to do it all game.
Sure. I can do it all game. But so my opponent, he was playing 501st. We got, was it Bunker Assault? No, we got the 3 ones. What's that one called? Close the pocket. Yeah, we got Close the Pocket. And so he puts on one side Rex, Arc, and a clone infantry. And on the other side, he puts Arcs and Anakin and everything. But the problem what he was doing, he was double moving everything. And he didn't give any Arcs orders. He did have 2 clone commanders that he was infiltrating, and he gave them the order and Anakin the order. So when he pulled an Arc, and he had 4 in his list, Arcs. But he just double moved across the map. Or sorry, not double moved because they scout, triple moved across the map.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He's trying to
Yeah,
set a
that's-
position.
He was trying
That's
to
too far.
he
It's
was
trying to
way
trying
too
set up.
far.
yeah, he was trying to set up for turn 2, but and he did admit to me that he hadn't played a lot of the new 2.6. So obviously this is a good strategy if you want to make sure you have the point and get all that. But you know me as I play, he did that. I just immediately go and shut him down and shoot him off the board. By the time the clone commander starts shooting at my Geonosians, it's already too late. I already killed arcs. I killed clone infantry. He put Anakin in a weird position. I think he kind of double moved Anakin too. And I was able to just like get early shots on Anakin. And then he dived Anakin. And then he dived Anakin and pulled a Jose and got 2 hits.
So I actually have a question on that. Even if Anakin gets 6 hits, like
right.
is that even good?
It's only good if you last with Anakin, right? But he didn't last with Anakin. He went with Anakin.
The
It's
you
like
wanna bury.
that's not even a unit.
Sure, but you want to at least bury, and can't remember if he had force push or not. I'm pretty sure he didn't. You still want to be able to dive in, kill at least 6, and then if that unit has already activated, at least you're safe, right?
Right.
But in
well,
this
the
case,
thing that I was telling you with your list when we were talking, like, I don't know if I want to take this, is the thing is, like, you're throwing the 18 dice and you got these big squads, and most of the squads you're gonna see are 6 or lower. So the Anakin swing is amazing on anything but geos or double squads, because the thing about your list is where you're min maxed, they're playing the catch up attrition game no matter what, because if they knock off 6 geos from a double geo squad and you knock off 3 clone infantry from a 3-man unit, the damage trade-off is not there. So as long as you can keep hitting, they can't catch up, which is
I mean, to me,
you're talking about your
to me,
last
if I
game didn't happen for you.
like if I'm playing JR's list, like I'm shooting the arcs because those are the only things that have the dice pools that could actually scare me. Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Like
Yeah.
every time
Deleted.
he threw an arc, I just focused the arcs. I mean, he did infiltrate the commandos and then moved and was able to shoot 8 dice with them. But
they died.
Yeah, by that time, Snaps didn't come in. Maul can infiltrate and then go to them, and that's pretty much what I did, was killing those clone commandos.
Did you use Staps to kill the commandos
I think
rather than full geo squads just to pop that Katarn at least?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Every chance I got for clone commandos, I sent the Stabs out to pop the Kanton armor.
Yep.
Nice.
You don't want to waste a geo shot.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would do Maul saber throw on that just to pop the Katon armor. Like I didn't
Okay,
care.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's
Would
perfect
Would not
strategy.
waste the Geonosian shot.
Yeah, because I feel like Pierce is really good against them, because it's like you have to decide, do I spend the Katarn or do I not?
Right.
On Pierce, yeah.
So that was my opponent's game. Again, he just kind of moved too close to me in the beginning, and then he also dedicated some to the other side, which I did not. I just put them all on the one side, and then my thought was kill him here and then pivot. Like again, I got the mobility to get to where I need to get to.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like down 3 acts that are doing nothing but moving to get to me. So that game I won. Really cool opponent. Dig it. Then my next opponent was another 5-0 first. Oh my god. So this one, there's like a big wall in front of us, and I can't remember what it is because I didn't take a picture of it. But again, it's close to pocket. So I put one Geonosian warrior, and this is the 4-man squad, on one side, kind of bait him to put him over there because the side that he wanted had a lot more LOS cover and everything, which is good for me. But at the same time, he wants to hide his arcs to pop out and shoot my geos, because that's what you need to do. You need to dwindle down my geos, right? The other side had a little bit more open for me, so I can get but he didn't take the bait. He puts it on the side that favors him, and he started deploying everything. But I have to fight him, right? So I do deploy everything on that too. He kind of does move a little bit closer than anticipated. Not as much as the other guy, but enough to where the stabs didn't come from the right side. I decided to deploy the stabs on the right side because with that wall, what he did with one of the arcs is he triple moved behind that wall, and he didn't expect my stabs to flank on that right. And then he also dedicated a squad of arcs to take that point because all I had at the time was that 4-man Geonosian warrior. So he needed somebody to take that. So I was just like, okay, cool. That's one less arc I need to deal with right now. So pretty much that's what happened. The stab swoop in from the flank, destroy that arc because I was able to get him out of cover. And then Maul goes in, saber throws. I think I tried to saber throw clone commandos to pop the Katana armor, which I did. Oh no, I didn't. I blanked the whole 4 red shots. Like I was so annoyed, and I don't think I blanked on everything. I think I got one through, but he had a dodge, so that was detrimental. But turn 2, I play Witch of the Queen. He moves a guy up, and then I get them all buried, right? But this Anakin has force push, but because I flanked with the stabs, he didn't know which way to go with Anakin. And the Geos are close enough to the middle because all I got to do is jump on the wall and I'm at the middle right then and there, right? Because the wall also works for me as an LOS, and I have the mobility to move, jump up there, and fire something. So he's scared to go in the middle because of this, and he's actually taking pot shots with the clone commandos to dwindle them down. But you know, I managed to secure this one, Barry, and then I'm gonna get the middle with my stabs, and then this one over here, I tie him with my 4-man squad. He decides that things are starting to die from the Geos. He decides to send Anakin towards where Maul's at to make sure that he can at least get that point and get the moral victory of killing Maul, which, might I add, Maul's whole role in this is cannon fodder. I want you to shoot at Maul. I want you to kill Maul, because if you're killing Maul and the stabs, you're not killing the bugs.
It's shooting the bugs.
Right, and the bugs are the ones doing the most damage output. Which honestly, it's a hard trick because if you're shooting the bugs, the stabs and the Maul still are a nuisance, and they could do damage. And the bugs that you're killing, there's so many of them that they still have a good fire output. Right, that's the whole point of the list. So I was able to win that game, dwindling down. And what was it? He did manage to dive Anakin in and kill a lot of bugs. I think this is the one opponent that killed mostly the bugs in my list, to the point where I was so far to points that there was no coming back. Like he was gonna lose regardless. But it got me a little nervous because I was just like, I'm losing a lot of bugs, and he lost a lot already. That I didn't even focus Anakin down. That Anakin now has the damage output to start deleting squads. So I needed to make sure just to secure the game and just move my stabs now job was just go to this point, go to this point. Great opponent. I don't think I was blue player on that one, but yeah, my third game. And I'm sorry to my opponents, I totally forget your names. I'm bad with names unless it's like a unique name that I just like, oh, I'm never gonna forget that name. So now I face a Rebelist, and I'm feeling really good. It's white saves versus white saves. And what annoys me the most is, I've said this before, I feel like I am a big fish in a small pond because a lot of our community are casual players. They like to just have fun. There's no really like competitive to it. So the Rebel players I play, it's just like, oh, I know how to deal with this. No, Rebels are good. And we all do Sleeper Cell is really good. But the amount of acts they can get is so cheap. Oh, get out of here, Jose.
I deleted Sleeper Cell. You got caught slipping.
No. Again.
John, you witnessed my massacre of Sleeper Cell. Come on now.
We are a big fish in a small pond because we're not super competitive, right? So my opponent had Op Luke, Bad Batch, Leia, 2 Sleeper Cells, 1 Slinger, Wicket, 2 ATRTs, and then some Rebel Troopers.
It's like
yeah,
Rebels right now. That's like every list is basically that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I was gonna point out real quick, like Bad Batch was everywhere at this tournament. Like Rebel people were playing it, and Republic people were playing them.
And Bad Batch, Rebel Bad Batch is just really good because you can get that high act and you can laugh. And my opponent, he played turn 1 as we do what we do. So I knew he was trying to make some kind of play. And thankfully I was out of range of his, you know what? Was this Commander Luke? I think this was no, this had to be Op Luke. Commander
If
Luke.
he had Commander Luke, that dude have balls.
I mean,
Commander Luke is
one of
bad.
the opponents rebels that I played had Commander Luke, but I can't.
So the reason you play Commander Luke, I disagree that he's bad. Because he still gets all of the shenanigan cards.
Sure.
And so you play Luke for the shenanigans, right? Even Op Luke now is kind of relegated to I'm here for the shenanigans. But Operative Luke is better than Commander Luke. Clearly, he's also more expensive, right? And you always need a commander. So like if you're running some pretty expensive operatives, like just slot in Commander Luke, you get the shenanigans. Yeah, it's less damage output, but it's good enough, right? So
And yeah, so I can't really recall, but he had Force Push, and I was scared of
on
Force
Commander
Push.
Luke?
Like again,
Yeah,
That
it
must have
couldn't have
been
been
Op Luke.
Commander
It
Luke.
might have
That
been
must have been
Op
Op Luke. If
it
he
might
brought
have-
Force
Yeah.
It
Push.
might have been Op Luke.
Yeah.
So I was scared to get in range of Op Luke because Op Luke had burst of speed, and then he could Force Push. So what I did was, this map was wonderful. It had a bunch of LOS, and one side had a little bit less than the other side. So I deployed all my Genotions on the one that had the more heavy LOS. And then I had like a height 2 building right in smack in the middle of the map where only my guys could get on there, aside from the Ewoks, who I think had scale. We
Dirty
play
bastards.
intercept signals, and this was like my weakest, I think, objective because I really haven't played it that much. But he decides to deploy everything on the side that still has good LOS for him, but bad for me. So he puts Rebel Troopers over there. He puts the ATRT. And then on the other sides, because he seems to be putting Genotions on the other sides, he puts Wicket, Slinger, OP Luke, Leia, Sleeper Cell, and he had Fleet Troopers as well.
Mm.
With the
Real quick before you continue, Ewoks do not have scale. They have unhindered.
Well, then that's a shame. I did not know that.
Yeah, so they couldn't have
Were
gotten
you
on
cheated?
that middle building.
I didn't cheat. Wasn't I?
I said,
Wait, did he go on
I
the
said, were
building?
you cheating?
Yeah, he had a slinger because I had like deleted the slingers to
How?
1. Well, he had said that he had scale, but I don't think my opponent was cheating me. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just
I mean, maybe the
Like,
core have it. Wait,
That's a big
No.
miss.
so the core have low profile, and unhindered, and mercenary. The special forces have unhindered.
honestly, well,
They better have had some grappling hooks.
And in
dude.
hindsight,
They might have.
Right.
You know what they might have, right?
no, he didn't have grappling hooks. But even then, like, it's one of those things where you look at a miniature and you're just like, yeah, these are bears that like attack you. They got skill. They gotta have skill.
No.
That's what I assumed, right?
Yeah.
They had jetpacks.
Yeah. So, so I play my last card. He's doing really good at staying behind LOS. I'm not getting no shots. I don't even know if I can alpha strike with Maul. So I decided to hide Maul underneath the building to where there's no way he can get a shot off. So after he deployed everything, he moves Bad Batch straight down the middle, straight to my intercept signal on my side because there's a clear shot to it. And when he does, I'm just like, oh man, he could shoot Maul and potentially kill him because they got the damage output to do it. Turn 2, I play Serve the Queen, and I'm hoping
Brings the house.
I'm hoping to get Maul. My stabs on the other side, like he did such a good job at hiding all his stuff. My stabs didn't even get a shot. They just moved and stayed. They didn't do anything else because I had no shots. And when I say I had no shots, meaning he was taking standbys, scout, move, standby. It's like I couldn't even get to the range where I'm going to be able to shoot those off, and let alone Bad Batch is coming in, and Bad Batch will be able to get that shot off, right, on my stabs. So they stay put. This whole turn was boring. I hid Maul relatively in the middle of the map. He double moves Bad Batch or triple moves because how did he triple move?
Probably
No,
steady.
Speed 3. He has speed 3 because of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Then I play Reserve the Queen. I'm scared because I need to get my Maul out of there because I see Bad Batch right there about to shoot him. I go to the bag and I get Poggle. So I'm just like, all right. I go ahead and move Poggle into position. Didn't matter. But he didn't go with Bad Batch next. He went with something else.
Oh.
So then I was just like, okay. So now that's all left in my bag is Maul. So I go with Maul. Maul actually is in retreat mode. He retreats, saber throws, and I get like 2 wounds through, which is huge.
Your
And
Bad Batch?
then on Bad Batch.
Why didn't you just walk into them?
Well,
They don't punch
because
hard.
like again, they don't punch hard. But if I go
They could
into him,
withdraw.
yeah, withdraw and everything
Yeah,
shoots,
and everything will
right?
shoot small.
And
yeah.
that's
Mhm.
like again, I literally just said
I
I'm
kind of
not
think it's worth
people-
the sacrifice, but you know,
Right.
you're the one that won. I didn't, so
Right. Well, like I said, I'm okay with Maul getting shot and killed, but the problem is that in order for that to happen, Maul needs to be a sacrifice. So he needs to die for a purpose. And in this position, he would die for no reason because I cannot return fire.
Oh, you could. Okay, I didn't get that
Yeah,
part. I didn't get that you couldn't return
remember,
fire.
he's hiding everything behind OLS. They got to peek
Yeah.
out. So there's no real reason for me to
No,
sacrifice.
I missed that
Uh,
part.
So he moves towards my deployment. Saber throws get 2 moves, and then moves again because I took a wound on turn
Mhm.
1 from my last. And Maul's just like now around all the bugs. Now, if you want to get Maul, you're gonna get the bugs. So now we're just doing this safety moving.
Playing real cagey.
KG, but his Bad Batch is now in the middle of the map. So I start double moving geos and start shooting. I think I did 1 geo and shot at Bad Batch. Now I get another 2 wounds through. Record goes, no, I get 3 wounds through from 1 shot of geos. So record goes down, and I don't remember who you chose. Probably Tech. No, I don't remember. Echo, probably Echo. No, Tech, definitely Tech. So then now he decides to double move into my geos to make them safe, which he does. And then the whole game is just us over this internet signal, and I'm just double moving, shooting at a sleeper cell, slowly shooting everything down. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole game. He did withdraw with Bad Batch to get my point. I was like, I need to kill him. I kill Bad Batch, and he does that the whole game. He sent Bad Batch to my point. I have to commit a lot of my army to shoot, and like I'm like,
Did they have the scanner?
no, they did not have the scanner, but I had everything committed on the right side, so nothing was on the POI. So I needed to kill it, and I killed him, and then
Oh, like your home POI, not the right POI.
correct.
Got it.
Because I'm winning the right one, and he's winning the left one because I committed nothing over there. So if he gets my POI just at one time, he is now ahead in points.
Right.
And he did a shenanigan move that I really love is I committed. So now I'm thinking, okay, we can't keep fighting. I can't keep fighting him over the right. That's what I've been doing. I'm winning by killing everything, but eventually I'm going to lose this, right? Because my staffs are the one that have the signal. I start sending geos to his, right?
Yeah, there you go.
And I send 1 geo, 1 guy, and he's hiding behind the building. Luke's kind of on my side of the table, and he's like trying to kill things. He decides to retreat Luke back to his side of the board, and Paul goes on my side. Dudes Jedi mind trick on him, gets 2 suppression, instantly panics him, and gets the sweep and clear for that. No, bring them to hill because we were doing bring them to hill.
Got it.
Nice.
So he and I'm just like, oh, that was such a good move. So I'm just now I'm now losing
down.
this game. This game I'm losing, and it's coming to time. Time's coming quick. We played relatively quick, but I'm just getting nervous. I'm like, okay, I got to do something. So eventually, what I do, I kill so many. And you know what annoys me? I bring them to the hill.
Now, how did you not panic anything? He only had Leia as a commander.
Yes, I'm going to tell you how I did not panic, and this is where I was going to get to right now.
Oh,
What annoys me about bringing them to hill is that my bugs just kill things. So there's yeah. So I don't have a guy to give enough suppression to because they just die immediately, right? So that was a little frustrating. But what was nice was towards the end of the game, I was able to get Geos on his side. So now I'm getting that point, and he doubles moves. He like started to move Leia to get to my POI. So now I got to kill Leia. But what was nice is towards the end of the game, all he had left for a trooper to get a suppression was Leia, OP Luke, and Wicket. So all I needed to do was get a suppression on each of those guys, and I would get the 2 points for bringing them.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was just like, cool. I shot. I was like, please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. Please. Every time I shot one of those guys.
well, even if you did, unless you killed all 3, it would have been okay, right?
I mean, at that
Because
point,
if there's one guy left and they get 1 suppression,
Yeah, that's the
And they have a
whole.
oh yeah,
Then you
yeah,
score.
yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right. But unless they all die at the same time,
That's what I'm saying. Like, unless you kill all 3 of them.
Sure. You are correct. You're correct.
Hopefully you had a stop alive or something to like not kill and just get a suppression, right?
Yeah. I had stabs
Okay.
live, and they were zooming.
Stabs are good at killing things sometimes too, though.
Nah, that's true.
So that's basically how it went. He pulls that trick. I'm like, okay, I need a trick to pull. I pull that trick. I'm able to take over his because he was also getting points off the right one because he had the ATRT there with the token. So he's getting points from 2 things, and I'm only getting point for 1 thing until I get over there, and now I'm getting point for 2 things. And then he pulls the trick, I pull the trick, I get lucky, and that's how I win that game. That was, I think, my closest game by far. Great opponent. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I saw your face after that one. You're like, whew, like you were like frustrated. You were like exhausted.
Yeah, it was just you were doing such like
that was only game 2.
No, that was game 4.
That's game 3.
Oh,
game 4.
No, game 3. You're right. Game 3.
Yeah, game 4 is the fun one, right?
Yeah,
this is against Mowgli.
Yeah, game 4 is a little bit more stressful, but it's definitely fun. But I do want to say a couple things about that last game. Is that one thing that he did that I liked is that he has Jedi Mind Trick. So he force pushed a Geo out from Wicket, Jedi Mind Trick, and then shot everything at Maul. And he whiffed. He whiffed everything. And he was,
Nice.
and I was just like, oh, thank God. Like, that was detrimental. Another thing, too, is, and this is important to note, so I have 5 Geos with the Warrior squad. So that means they have Indomitable. I went with the squad that had the 4, and I rolled my rally step. And this is important because of, I forget why it was important, but it was important to the game, to the state of the game. So I roll a red, and it blanks. And then he reminds me, like, hey, that's your 4-man squad. You're supposed to do a white one. I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. And so I rolled the white, and then I got a surge. He's just like, oh, wait. Well, since you got the blank from the red, we'll just keep the blank for the red. I go, wait, I thought I was just supposed to.
Okay, wait a minute. If he at any point said you should roll the white, he needed to accept that result.
Right. So
one, if you roll
this
the
is not,
wrong
by the way,
dice,
this is
you're
not what you
supposed
told me
to
last
re-roll,
time,
right?
when you were talking about this.
What did I tell you?
Well, you just told me the end result, which is like the opponent can choose to take the worst result.
So that's
like, no, you don't get to like choose.
Again, my like, I don't want to throw any shade at my opponent. My opponent was awesome. He was really, we're friendly, and we weren't trying to stiff anybody wrong. So he was just, when I was in mid-roll with the red when he said it. He's just like, oh, by the way, you're supposed to roll a white for that squad because it's your 4-man. And this is when the red die is falling and it's a blank. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. He's like, dude, don't even worry about it because you've got, 5 squads. I can see why you made a mistake. So then in the process of us saying that,
he assumed you were gonna whiff anyway.
I rolled the white one, yeah. And he did. Well, I rolled the white one and I got a surge, and he's just like, well, the advantage is supposed to go to me.
And by the way, I need somebody to actually tell me this is how this works, because this is not how I understand the rules.
Right. So let me get to that. So then I go, wait, what? He goes, yeah. So the rules are that if the advantage favors your opponent, you can just keep the advantage as opposed to re-rolling dice. I go, I'm pretty sure you do get to re-roll the dice. Yeah, so we call the judge over. Timbo comes over, and then he tells Timbo, what I just said, like advantage. He's like, let me double check. So he appeals that decision because Timbo goes, no, you're supposed to re-roll. He appeals that, and then we get the head. We get the head judge. We get Nima. And Nima said that what he was talking about was the old rules. That used to be a thing, but now it's very much you have to re-roll. If anytime you roll more dice or less dice,
roll the whole boat.
Got to re-roll the whole boat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so so basically your re-roll was counted.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, just a heads up, I did call a judge once, and it ended up being Nima, and he gave a wrong ruling, and I couldn't appeal it, so that was fun.
Oh,
I even double checked with Josh later. I'm like, explain to me how this works. And he's like, and I'm like, this is how it works. So I said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so Nima got it wrong. Like,
what was the ruling?
Here, let me just.
We're gonna have the spiciest LVO podcast, right?
Basically, okay, you got something.
Judges are wrong.
Real quick, you've got something like here, right? Right. You've got something up top here, and you've got something down below here, like a silhouette.
Yeah.
Right. It's a trooper. So the silhouette's this tall, thing's this tall. The question was, are they overlapping? What's the answer?
No, because the
No,
silhouette
because the
on the
silhouettes
bottom
aren't
has to
touching.
be.
Right.
They have to be touching.
Right.
He missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's clearly in the rules. Like the silhouettes are touching.
Yeah,
it's
but
all
it's
happening.
fine. It didn't affect the game at all. It was one of those moments where I was just calling just to double check, right? And then I'm like, really? And then he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I asked Josh later, and Josh gave me a different answer. So
You should have took the rule book to Nima and be like, "Hey, sir,
no,
this is in the
I didn't care.
past,
Again, it
but
didn't affect anything. Like it was one of the games I won anyways, so I was like, whatever. Like
I'm
To
just
be
looking for
clear-
chaos."
To be clear, I'm not calling anyone a cheater at this kind of level of game. There's stress, there's time, there's confusion.
oh yeah, that's
So yeah, there's bound to be some mistakes happen that probably weren't unintentional.
so so real quick though. Like I thought the rule was like if you don't roll enough dice, you roll the additional dice. Like I need to roll 5 black, I roll 4. I think you just add the 5th dice.
So,
it's only if you roll the
yeah.
wrong thing.
You might be right in that because same thing I had that situation happen in my game against Austin Miller, and the judges were there, right? Because it's on stream game.
Right.
And they said like, hey, just roll because he didn't roll enough dice. He goes, just roll the one you didn't roll. And I was just like, oh, I was hoping he had to re-roll the whole thing because he saved really well on that roll.
Yeah, no. So it's
yeah.
my understanding is do it wrong, re-roll the whole thing. And wrong is either like I have a red dice instead of a white dice, or I have 6 dice instead of 5 dice. You roll the whole thing. But if it's not enough, you just add.
Okay, that's good to know.
So
I wasn't too sure on that, but when Austin Miller did it and the judges right there, I was just like, yeah, the judges probably know. I don't need to challenge that.
Yeah. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jose.
No. So my thing is, I'm kind of like a jerk like this, but I really feel like the judges weren't on the same page. I mean,
Sure.
clearly we have
And we can probably talk about that more later because we still have
hold on.
4 more games.
I know
Jared
that.
to
Hold
go
on,
through.
but I'm just saying, like
Get there
clearly
quickly.
the judges aren't on the same page, and sometimes they just make the wrong calls. And
They're
it's like
human,
it makes it
right?
It makes it no. But here's the thing: like it still makes it hard. Like when something is like, I don't want to say obvious, but
But
like
again, I do want to talk about this, Jose, but I think we should do this later, right?
Well,
Because I want you to go your whole thing about the game 1 of the stream too.
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just saying. Like I said, I kind of decided not to get in on that because I sat down. I was like, I'm gonna be very mean if I get into this.
Well, to be go ahead.
I'm just saying, like the whole dice roll thing, like that thing has always been a thing to me. Like if you mess the roll, if you do not do the correct roll, you roll the right way. Like pick it up, roll it. So my thing is, what I've noticed with a lot of these tournaments, not just LVO, even my personal experience at LVO included in that, is that there's a lot of ticky tack. These are the rules we're following, but we're going to do this instead. So if the rules are specifically stated a certain way, especially when it comes to a dice roll, if the rule is supposed to be re-roll the whole thing, whether you roll 4 dice and you're supposed to roll 5, you re-roll the whole thing. Don't just be like, oh, well, just roll the 1. Like that's the problem I'm having with a lot of these tournaments.
Well, to be fair, like in my scenario with my reroll rally step, the judges were right, and like I just like Rob had said that he understands the re-rolling additional dice if you didn't roll enough. That's how it happened in my game with Austin Miller, and it probably was right. I think the judges did a really good job. I think it's just very hard to always know everything about the rules because there's so much rules to the game, right?
Especially when they just changed recently, right?
Oh,
and
100%.
April to January is still pretty recently, all things
Yeah.
considered.
Yeah. So like I think all the judges did a really good job. They all went in my favor, so I can't complain. I'm just kidding. So my next game was against Mowgli, and the reason why I know that name is because it's Mowgli from Jungle Book. Like I love that. And he had an 18 axe rebel list. And honestly, I was just like, okay, that's a lot of bodies. He had was it 4 vets?
I've got it open if you want.
Okay, yeah, read it to me.
All right, so he had Officer, Leia, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. How does he only have 4 vets, but then 6 Mark IIs? No, he had 6 vets,
Yeah.
6 Mark IIs.
Yeah, he did.
2 sleeper cells and an ATRT.
Yeah, and okay, so I was going in there just like, okay, I just need to kill a lot of things as quickly as possible, right? So I was hoping to just do the move that I do, just double move, kill things. What I did not expect and was I totally thrown off guard. And Rob, you tried to warn me, is he's moving towards you really quickly. And usually that's really good for me. The problem is these things that are moving are taking standbys and he getting free moves. And there's so many bodies. And like the biggest thing that I need to take out is the sleeper cell, which we get bunker assault. He deployed both his sleeper cell on the right side, and he deploys everything evenly except for the sleeper cells, which commits them to the right side. I decided to kind of like throw everything in the middle a little bit so I can kind of commit to where I need to go. But yeah, what he did is 3 of his vets had the Comtech, which then had HQ uplink, plays assault turn 1, pops those HQ uplink. They all get ordered, then give it to the Mark IIs, and they get a standby. So I'm just like, okay, I can't dive him because they're Sentinel. So like, I got to be very cagey with what I shoot at. But like, we're taking turns, and I get a lot of passes, and I make good use of them. I'm like, pass, all right, go with this person, pass, all right, go pass. Like, I'm making sure like I'm not giving anything to him. He then has to go with some of his Mark II, which all he does is move standby, right? So like he's got all these standbys lined up, but he's got one Mark II a little bit ahead than the others. So I decided that's the Mark II I'm going to focus. So my stab goes, targets that Mark II, pops the standby. He gets a couple wounds on my stab. They all focus. He survives because exemplar, and he got some really good rolls. So I'm just like, all 3 of my stabs did nothing. Now it's Maul's turn.
He survived all 3 stabs?
Yeah, all 3 stabs shoot that.
I thought he just survived 1.
No, all 3 stabs shot that Mark II, and he survived. I was like, this guy's dice is on fire.
What?
Yeah, I was so bummed. I was just like, I didn't even get 1 to kill. So Maul can't go at all because Maul's got to get in range 2 of something, and he's going to pop a lot of range 3 standbys. So there's a building in the middle that's kind of a little bit more on his side, but on my side, I just hide Maul there. Takes the wound, hides Maul there, and that's the end of round 1. We're just putting Geonosians and then the thing. Now, this is where the fun begins, because then he plays Sorrow, and me and Rob, like getting ready for our next game, where Apache's like, watch out for that Sorrow move. And in my head, I'm just like, is that bad? And I was like, I don't know. so sure enough, he plays that Sorrow turn 2. I play We Serve the Queens, and it's that bad. Because the vets, what he did was he just moved the ones that have the HQ uplink. He moved and recovered HQ uplink. So now turn 3, he plays coordinate, or the Sorrow one, pops those HQ uplink. They all get an order. They all get to move. Now the Mark IIs get an order. They get a standby. Well, they move first, and then they get a standby. There's only 1 Mark II and 1 veteran that didn't get to do that because of the orders. So I'm just like, holy cow! There's nothing I can do. If I need to pop some standbys, or else I'm just gonna I'm gonna lose, because he's already halfway across the map, already at my bunkers, and like he just got to move to get to my bunker, right? I am still on my side of the board of my deployment. I'm not even by his bunker, so it's just like, if he gets enough bodies on this, he can have his bunkers and my bunkers. So I was just like, F it, I gotta do something. So I sent my I sent my stats to just be cannon fodder. They go. First, they're still in range of that one guy. One goes, thankfully, kills it. After all the shooting I've been doing, it kills it, and then I move it into a bunch of standbys, and he unloads all standbys onto that stat. Not all of them, but a majority of them. Then I go with another stat. He shoots, then he sends some standbys, and he goes and he takes out. So all I wanted to do was to sacrifice my stats, and sure enough, that's the case. That's what they did. Sleeper cells then come up. All right, now sleeper cells are up. Okay, my Geonosian warriors go. They start killing sleeper cell. Like, I think I one-shotted a sleeper cell. Pretty sure I did one-shot a sleeper cell. Maul, I commit Maul board to the right side, which then he doubles moves, saber throws, sleeper cell, and then the Geonosian warriors that are on the left side dealing with the other guys. It was pretty much over by round 4 because the sacrifice that I made. I killed a lot of things. It was kind of getting scary there because of how quickly he could move, but the damage output I could have done with my Geo just kind of started killing things. And I managed to get Maul dived into a sleeper cell and like kill it, not kill it, but like cripple it, and then bounced off to his bunker. And I started getting points from that bunker and everything. And he killed a lot of Geos in this game too. So it was really close in the sense of the like he's got 18 hacks. He's taking a lot more time than normal. I was more nervous this game because of time, because he's getting bodies on across the map, so he could win just on time. Like if I don't get a chance to have the full 5 activation or full 5 turns. So thankfully I was able to kill enough that I need to, that I won that game.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually got to watch that game, and it was I think the most wildest game I've seen JR play, because turn 1 he had a bunch of passes, turn 2 he had less passes, turn 3 the other guy had passes,
Yeah.
and then it was just over. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, the only way that you're gonna win this is by tabling him, and that's kind of what you did.
Yeah, I think I did table him. I think
Yeah,
we just played it out and tabled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, so yeah, that was a really good one. So,
Mm.
my next game is the game that I
Real quick,
lost.
I think you should skip to game 6 because game 5 is the interesting one.
Okay. So
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll go skip
Yeah.
to game 6. Game 6 was the Polish guy.
So you're 4-1, and his name is Kuba. I looked it up because I felt bad for just calling him the Polish guy, but
So he did the same thing in my game against you. He snipers popping off, clone commandos popping off. He sends a couple to the left again, bunker assault. He puts some on the right side, and then he kind of commits a little bit more of his army on the left side. So I knew he's gonna do the sniper shot. I knew I had to have some Geos dive, so I just kind of like embraced for that. They moved dodge, right? He didn't kill as much as I thought he would, because what happened was is on the left side, or on my right side, his left, he had the strike teams scout, shoot, hide behind this like tower. The problem is he moved closer to me. So when I'm ready to do my alpha strike with my steps, they were able to pick off the strike teams. So I think I picked off 2 strike teams turn 1. And then Maul comes in and Maul saber throws. What did I saber throw? I think I saber throw some commandos. I don't remember what I saber threw with, but pretty much Maul infiltrated. He moved, saber throwed, then moved back. Right? He didn't want to be too close to Anakin, because he prepared to position Anakin. So what he does with Anakin, because he goes last with Anakin, he double moves so close to me. Like he's by his bunker, but he double moves. Now I went with everything. He went with everything. That's activated. So now it's turn 2, and he's
wait. His Anakin is like in your area, like at the end
not,
of round.
Not in my area, but think of bunker assault. He
did the same thing in my game.
Yeah, he's past.
He was
bunker,
like
right?
hyper aggro with his Anakin.
Yeah, he was super. So I was just like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, does he want to dive Maul? Does he want to dive the bugs? Now, I'm pretty sure he probably wants something to dive into, right? But there's the thing is I got stabs. So turn 2, we serve the queen, stabs pop HQ. I focus fire all 3 stabs into Anakin. So this is a little cagey game. He wants me to go with Maul, and I'm pretty sure he wanted me to go with Maul to bury. I wanted him to go with Anakin. So now we're trading blows. But the thing is that my Anakin my Maul had backup. His did not. So he's shooting my Maul. I got backup. I'm making my saves, right? The stabs get like
operatives get backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Operatives get backup.
The heck, I thought it was just commanders. Okay.
No,
well, I don't use backup anyways. Backup's for losers.
I'm gonna double check that because
I've never remembered backup.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. I mean,
yeah, no, I think it is because Bad Batch can't get it.
Yeah, they can.
Some weird
no, yeah. A trooper unit with the commander or operative rank, except ...
So then my stabs get 3 wounds through.
Ooh.
So he has to go with Anakin, and he does. He goes with Anakin. He decides, I don't know if he has saber throw, but if he
his first 3 wounds, by the way?
What's that?
Were those the first 3 wounds he took?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has 3 left.
Yeah. So then what he decides to do is he's got to go with Anakin, which was the right call. Because my stabs went, my Geos haven't went yet, and they can dive. They can dive Anakin. So he decides to move back behind the bunker, but in a way that he's not behind the bunker. He's just to the right of the bunker. So he's out in the open. So I'm just like, perfect, perfect. So I go with my Geos. My Geos double move and are in range of Anakin. I shoot Anakin. Unfortunately, I only do 1 wound and he kills 1 Geo. And he sees what I'm doing. So he decides to start moving and stand by in front of Anakin to protect Anakin. I decide Anakin's worth killing. I'll pop those standbys. And that's what I do. I double move some more Geos. I pop a standby. He shoots, a couple Geos died. I shoot back. I get another wound on Anakin. He surges again, so another Geo dies. And then again, I'm double move, pop another standby, and kill Anakin. Anakin is dead.
Nice.
Standbys do nothing with those blobs coming in.
Yeah, especially behind the heavy cover.
Yeah.
And at
And
this
especially
point,
since you can't relentless with it anymore.
right. So pretty much, I'm just taking the right side. Like he committed, like I said, he committed at least 3 ARC troopers to the left side, so they're not even in the fight, right? So he's taking both my bunker's assault, which is fine. I kill mostly everything on the right side, and I take both his bunker assault. And we each both got 11 victory points. And this is those games where we were still playing, and I wasn't sure why. Because I was just like in my head, I was just like, we're both going to tie on victory points, and I'm going to win on kill points. So I kind of like kindly told him like, hey, I'm going to win on kill points. Because towards the end of the game, he put his arcs to move away from my army, but still in range of the bunker. And I was just like, well, I don't need to dive you. I could just do the same thing you do and then just wait till the game ends. And so I was just like, well, let's just speed this up process. If that's your game plan, just keep doing that. I'm going to keep, this is my game plan. So let's get to the conclusion faster. And that's what we ultimately decided, like, yeah, I'm going to win on kill points. So that game, yeah. Game 6.
5.
Thank you. 5. This Austin Miller, great player.
On stream.
Yes.
Yeah, on stream.
Watch that. It's on our Discord. Great player. He got me on some crazy moves that I'm going to talk about here. Really fun to play with. And man, again, I thought I had this in the bag because I was going against Rebels. Reminding me flashbacks of the Obi-Wan player last LVO because I was like, I got this.
Yeah, he wasn't there this year, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Which, like, I still think LJ should have given him a free invite. I'm like, if I were Nathan Gerbil, I'd be like kind of miffed about that. But
yeah, well, maybe he couldn't make it. Maybe he did get one and couldn't make it.
I don't know if he earned one, but I do know he didn't get a free one for winning LVO last year. So
yeah, well, I don't think the IS was announced back then, but yeah.
It wasn't. I just think like he gave one to Ollie for winning Worlds, and I'm like, why don't I give one to the guy that won your own tournament? You know, like, but whatever.
So this one against Austin Miller, we play shifting priorities, and we play.
Love it.
I don't like that for you.
Sure. In hindsight, like maybe that wasn't. I was thinking like, oh, I got high mobility. I can get the points that I need to get, right?
Yeah.
So again, I like to keep all my army together. I deploy everything on the right side. He deploys everything on the left side. You only need 3 priorities to win, right? And that's what we do. We kind of get into position. Now he has AA5s that he just throws down my throat. So I shoot them and get some wounds, but he's also got repair bots, so he's repairing them. And
did you ever talk about what his list was?
No, go. Can you say it? I don't know.
Do you want me to do it real quick?
Yeah.
So he had Op Luke, 2 buses, one of them with the commander bus.
Shriv.
3 sleeper cells. It looks like 2 fleets, 4 rebel troopers with shotguns and captains. So just lots of wounds, lots of guys. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So again, I'm just afraid of the sleeper cells. That's all I'm afraid of, and the fleets. The fleets can do some damage, right? And OP Luke, he could do some things. The biggest thing I fear about OP Luke is he got disengage. So he could just move, attack, and then next turn move, attack something else. Like he could just start dwindling down the bugs. But he throws the AA5s down my throat because they're pretty much a wall for the sleeper cells that hide behind it, which they did. But I played super safe. I stayed in my deployment zone and just shot the staps at the bus, which I got the bus down to I think 2 wounds left. And because Malden infiltrated and then saber throwed and got some wounds through. So the bus only had 2 wounds left. So I'm feeling pretty good because all I got to do is play my We Serve the Queen card, Okay, everyone gets an order and start diving on these sleeper cells. He is across the map. He is halfway the map. Like he's got the middle one already on turn 1, right? He can't double move to the last one. He miscalculated that one, so he can't double move. And I was able to send my 4-man squad Geos to the very far right one. So I'm definitely going to get that one. And I'm going to get the one that's on my side. So that turn 2 pretty much ended with 2 points each. And then we are getting each a point on sweep and clear. Here's the thing about that game. And I hate this excuse. I don't like it when other people use it. And I don't like it when I use it. But I very felt this was the case. And Austin will back me up on this. We actually did a after game interview. You guys should definitely go watch it. But 18 dice, guys. 18 dice. Throw them, and I'm getting nothing. I didn't get a single save from heavy cover. I didn't get a single save from my defense rolls. And I didn't get anything from my attack when I was attacking. Like 18 dice, I'm getting nothing.
Well, for the record, average of 6, but nothing is still really bad.
Sure. Average of 6, right? And he's getting everything. I swear to you guys, Austin was 50-50 on his white saves. Not gonna lie. And I'm not even gonna say his dice are salted because we share dice, right? So his dice were just like, these are only for me. He probably prayed for them. He probably did some bleeding.
He probably prayed for them.
Something that only worked for him and cursed the person that's touching them, because that's pretty much how this game went down. Is I had really good positioning and shot. I killed his AA5 turn 2 with Maul. Which one thing he did that I wasn't aware of, and now I'll always remember, is he put one of his sleeper cells on a barricade, the leader. And I had a building that was height 1 that can go on the building and shoot, get death from above. Doesn't matter.
So
no, because it's within
I have a
height
question.
1.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So did you guys call that piece of terrain a legit barricade where you're like, that's a barricade?
So I think now I'm not too savvy.
No, it's very important. It's very important.
I know.
You can stand on barricades.
No, you can't. So I looked at it. I looked at the rule.
Hold on. We did not classify those as barricades. Well, we classified them as scattered terrain.
Okay, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
So barricades, you cannot have any trooper overlapping, period.
Right.
For things determined to be barricades.
This is a flashback from my game with Kyle. Because when we talked terrain, we were like, all right, heavy, like that's the easy part. And then
were they actually? I didn't watch the game. Were they actual barricades?
Like, so you know my Dark Temple barricades?
Oh, if they weren't actual barricades, then yeah. If you didn't say they're barricades,
no, we didn't.
That's what I was asking.
No, we didn't say they're barricades, but I call them barricades because they essentially look like barricades, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big difference.
Which matters.
Right. So no, and this was one of those games where, again, this just shows a great player who knows what he's doing. He was calling them out. He was just like, okay, this could be objective. This will be scattered. And I was just agreeing with everything because I didn't think, that. And I'm not saying he was trying. There was one thing we had to roll on because, the big old like octagon Dark Temple thing I had that had the stairs. I usually play to get up there difficult. Well, he plays them open. So we had to roll for that. And I rolled for, I don't remember who won. You can watch it on the thing. So pretty much, he denied me that, which was great.
By the way, I think it's better open. I hate that you play it difficult.
It's way better open.
I know, but the way it works in my head is
it's just your trains. I never argue it, but
no, he's trying to get his advantage. He has jump. Why would it?
No. But when I played JR on that map, he didn't have his Geonosians, right?
Yeah,
I know.
The way I work it in my head is these are stairs. When you're going upstairs, it's difficult to go up them, right? It's not as easy. What did you say?
That's for fat. I'm fat, so I can say this. For fat people. Ain't that right, John? Ain't that right, John? Me and John get to the top of the stairs, and we're just like, dang. Woo!
Hey, no. Do not make fun of John and walking because that man, he walked with us all the way from the car to Giordano's, and he didn't say a word. All right, and that was like
on the inside, I was hurting.
So in my head,
my God.
It's difficult to go upstairs as opposed to just walking. I'm just saying. So anyway,
I don't know, man. Stairs are pretty normal for me, so.
So pretty much we were neck and neck in points the whole game. But what he did, it was a really good move is so he dived Luke on my side. He force pushed some geos into him. And I thought it was good. I was safe. Like geos, all right, they could just withdraw to get the point. So we're doing the shifting priorities. There's a turn he plays Sons of Skywalker, and what he does is, since he's on my side of the board, he's like literally a move away from being in my deployment. So he force pushes the geos that are in base with him into my deployment. Then Son of Skywalker's that geos, kills it. So now he gets 2 points or whatever one that 2 point is, friendly or enemy territory, which then just sends him over to winning the game now. From that point, it just kind of spirals into a losing game because he's got the 2 points from that. I need the middle, and since I'm rolling horrible and nothing is dying, he has enough bodies to just deny me the middle. And what's even worse is he's got a rebel trooper on the one where I have the 4-man squad, and I have a snap over there, and I'm shooting everything at these guys, and not even they die. And I'm not talking like, oh, heavy cover comes. I'm talking about an open shot. And they
Raw
just
dog in the saves.
yeah,
That's
they
hilarious.
like I said, like kudos to you. God loves you more because I didn't make a save. And I didn't get nothing.
I mean, he is referred to as Florida Jesus, so.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just to say now, like, he didn't lose it. He cut his hair. And so I first saw him, like I met him in Indianapolis at Gen Con. And when I first saw him, like, at LVO, I didn't recognize him because it was from the back. And then I saw him and I saw the face. I'm like, I literally looked at him for literally 10 seconds, like as a bit of a gag. And I'm like, just like,
yeah.
And I'm like, and he's like, oh, hey, I'm Austin. We've met. I'm like, yeah, I know we've met. I'm just looking for the hair.
Like, again, Dice, that's just my tangent on Dice. That means nothing. Austin was a great player. He made some wonderful positioning moves and everything. Like, you could tell he knew what he was doing. I got kind of like a flight tilted about the barricade thing to deny me death from above.
I mean, that's
I'm
surprised you didn't know that, to be honest.
To be honest, again, I just didn't see it against my practice games, right? So it just didn't.
Okay.
Now again, it happened to me. It'll never happen to me again. Or
it's funny.
I mean, it might. And like, you would, if you would try to rule them, like, yes, they look like barricades, but you can't rule them as barricades. They're not barricades, right?
Right.
Like, is the rule itself kind of weird and maybe even dumb? Yeah, but it's like you can't actually stop a good player from doing that against
you. Know what really would have pissed me off? Okay, what really would have pissed me off is so at one point he moved a sleeper squad, but not enough to where he can get the unit leader onto that barricade. But what he decided to do was, those crystals, those red crystals I have. He put one of his models on it, like it was tilting like this, and just one miniature.
That's enough.
And so then I was just like, death from above. He's just like, oh no, I put that. I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
no way. But like, I guess what happened was because I didn't see him put it there. I guess somewhere down the line the table got bumped and it slid off, but I didn't see that. So I just like. He was just like, oh, by the way, I put them on the crystals. That was my intent. I was like, no, I didn't see you put that there. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But so we had to call the judge the rule, and then went back to look at the video, and sure enough, he did do that.
Okay.
They got an instant replay. That's
actually kind of sick.
However,
through the red flag, challenge flag.
You lost a timeout.
However, what happened was that when the judge came to verify, like, hey, he did, they also said, hey, it has to be the unit leader, or else you don't deny them death from above.
Oh, wait, really?
Yep, it has to be the unit leader. If it's not, because
this is such a dumb rule. I'm sorry, like this whole
and I'm so.
It should just be I'm above you, right? Like I'm higher than you.
Yes,
thank you. Why are we doing this hype band BS for this?
I agree 100%. Like if there's any elevation that I'm at, I get it, but
Oh my
anyways,
god, why did they make
Yeah, have you noticed? And since your 22 win, every time you've gotten to top 8, you've lost on something you didn't see happening. The orc with the wall with
Yeah.
Vader going over. Just he's not. I don't think he can go over that. Well, we didn't rule it, and he just goes over.
Yeah.
Freaking Obi-Wan. Oh, Protector's not that bad. Obi-Wan. Talking shit about Obi-Wan.
Yeah, on the car right
A
over there.
barricade.
Hey, they should buff Obi-Wan.
It's always one thing you didn't think of, you didn't see coming, and it's like,
Right.
here goes JR off the cliff.
Honestly, that's okay because that just makes me a better player. That's why I like playing better players because I learned something new, right? And in hindsight, it also works for me. If I'm on a barricade or if I'm on a scatter terrain and you're on the ground, I get death from above. Now I know that trick works.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah, because I'm elevated.
The thing's height 1. It's considered height 1.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it works for you too? I thought
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's dumb.
So
Yep.
anyways,
Because both those things are height 1 versus you being on the ground at 0 height.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that whole thing is like that death from above, that I got the death from above because they ruled it to where they have to be lit. Didn't matter because I ruled like crap and I didn't get it. so he still had his full squad. I'm just like, come on, dice, do something for me.
Yikes.
I think you know what I'm gonna do. I'm not sharing dice no more, guys. I'm only throwing my dice.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, you
use
know
your
what?
own-
You know what? You
use your
said
own
to
holy
share dice
water
with
dice.
people. I shared dice in one game,
Uh-huh.
and in this, I forget which game it was, but it was one of the ones I lost.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I lost that game, which I forget which one, is because
The
I shared
opponent's
dice.
dice.
Because I gave them my dice. We were using my dice. They rolled every freaking block. I think it must have been like game 4. I think it was game 4 day, or maybe game 1 day 2. Like it was one of those, and it's just like save, and I'm rolling like blank. I'm like, well, it's 50%, but like,
Yeah.
Jay,
Yeah.
you I know what happened.
What's that?
You borrowed my bad dice.
I did. Oh my. Oh, you tainted
You
me,
said,
you son of a gun.
hey, does anybody have dice I can borrow for LVO? I want to roll this. I want to roll that. I said, yeah, I got you. You came, you handpicked my dice and left. So now you know that my dice are terrible.
You know, that's it. Screw it. I'm only gonna play with my salted dice.
Yeah, your salted holy water dice.
So that was my game. I think
if
we've
you really
done
want to
well.
roll well, you have to use the Adepticon dice.
There you go.
They roll better.
There you go. But I think, guys, we should end it here because we've gone on too long. I think we could say
Yeah.
We'll go with Nick. We'll have his rundown and then go over our overall thoughts and everything.
More general thoughts.
Yeah. So, but anyways,
Rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine.
thank you guys for joining me. Again, LJ, all the people that showed up, the judges, like, thank you guys for throwing the event. We had a lot of fun. And anything you guys want to add?
No, it was a lot of fun, even though I may have sent a text at some point saying I'm never going to LVO again.
You did.
We will drag him back to LVO. You're going next year.
I'm just gonna play MCP next year, like Nick. Okay, even though I've never played it before.
Wow.
Hey, John,
dude,
wait.
It was at the beginning of one of those games where I'm looking at another completely open table, and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
I bought my
we'll talk about that
MCP
next week.
Yeah, we'll
That's
talk
a
about that
precursor for
next
next week. Okay.
Yeah. So, because we both have a lot to say about this. Yeah. Anyways, again, all of my opponents, you guys were awesome. I never really had a complaint with any of you guys. There were some like high intense moments, but other than that, I think everyone played awesome. So.
Yeah, same. My opponents, you're all great. Thank you, especially those I played later on when I was a little tilted. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Those who stay here, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate your support. And until next time, see ya.
Later.